And we are now live. welcome everyone. I'm going to turn off the YouTube music here because it's getting a little funky and depressing. Hello. How's everyone doing? We have a few guests. We have a few guests today. I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves whenever you want. Are you all there?
Yeah. Do you want, I'll go first, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
Hello, I'm Crimson Ender on YouTube. I guess I like a franchise or two, I suppose.
Yeah, no, you've
sometimes.
You as a treat, as a treat.
As a little treat.
And who are you also again?
Hi, I'm Madeline. She, her. I am a video essayist. On YouTube, check out my channel, Madeline May, and yeah, franchises.
Y'all are great at introducing yourselves on live. It's like, hi, speak, please, I have nothing planned. Talk. Oh, jeez. It's all good.
In my defense, I'm an idiot, so
I mean
I don't know what Madeline's excuse is.
I'm just nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I've been on your show before, but I'm just nervous today. It's one of those.
You talked about werewolves for like an hour.
We did.
Well, that was you.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah, if we were talking about werewolves, this would be fine.
This is fair. Werewolves may come up. Werewolves may be relevant at some point in this discussion.
Ooh.
So we got that going.
A little spoiler, yeah.
I mean, I have a whole list of franchise we can talk about. So it's been a week, though. It's been a chaotic week, even ignoring the political climate, which I'm not going to get into right now.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Please don't.
But I will. But I mean, we had like a whole bunch of. I mean, we an old enemy of ours changed her name, and now everyone had to like change the titles of their videos as a result.
I tried to pretend.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, CD Cal.
CD Call.
CD Call.
CD Call. I don't know who that is.
The YouTuber formerly known as Lily
name.
Orchard.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so Lily Orchard is now CD
Cal. Yeah.
Call.
And no one really
like
CD Call.
CD, like letters CD.
Yes, like a CD player.
Yeah.
Like a CD Call. CALL.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
all right.
No one's quite sure if it's like a new identity or a rebranding. No one's quite sure, and I don't think she's even quite sure. It's one of those things where we're like, okay, I guess we'll roll with this.
I mean, no, I love that. It's not like she wasn't outdated before. You know what I'm talking about? CDs.
For me, it's no skin off of my back. I don't think it's dead naming either, because she continues to call herself Lily.
Yeah.
I'll just call somebody
this sounds like a Kanye situation.
It sounds kind of cyberpunk.
Do whatever. Yeah.
I'll call people what they ask me to call them. It's no skin off of my back. I can't promise I'm always going to remember with this one, because she doesn't take up that much of my brain space, but sure.
This is valid.
Care.
Totally. Exactly.
That's
her name is not why people can't stand her. It's her actions.
You know what's just the other day, like some friends IRL, I was telling them about this video essay I'm working on, where I'm talking about a popular thing that I have problems with. And they were like, you're becoming like that one person who hates Steven Universe.
Oh God,
and I'm
no.
like, Lily Orchard's like, yeah, that's the YouTuber you are. And I'm like, I want to die.
That's the worst insult a human being can say. That's mean.
I do like though that her legacy is really just like that one chick who talked about Steven Universe years ago. That's her legacy.
Yeah, that and assaulting your sister.
I also super relate to that. I also made a video recently where I was just a hater the whole time.
About Wicked?
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be a hater on Thursday too. Not just about Wicked.
Oh, that poor
my
Dominic
video,
Noble.
I'm gonna kill Dominic Noble with my own hands.
Yeah, not to spoil anything for
in Minecraft, right?
My future video. Not just to spoil anything, but like my next video is gonna really unfortunately upset people, even though I believe it, and it's not like a clickbait thing. But
What is it?
I don't know.
You tell.
Oh, can
Tell me.
I can talk. I mean, I'll give you the title of it, which is gonna piss off everyone in the chat.
Oh boy, chat. Oh, actually, let's set a poll.
Be nice to me.
Let's make a poll.
To me when I say this. When I say this, my next video that I've been doing a lot of research on, a lot of writing on, is called "The Matrix is a Bad Trans Allegory."
Oh,
yes, I love you.
Video.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Not that it isn't. Not that it isn't a trans allegory. I think that's a very valid reading, but I think it has. If you take that reading to its logical conclusion, I think it has some bad ideology, and it kind of perpetrates some bad ideas. And when you see the video, that'll all. I'm also just reviewing the Matrix views critically, examining what I think is happening in the films and the franchise, what I think the ideology and what the film is trying to say, all that stuff.
It's actually ironic you're doing that. Oh, sorry. Yeah?
No, go. Yeah, you go ahead, Anthony. It's your channel.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's actually ironic you're doing that because this Friday I'm putting out my cyberpunk video where I basically call where the Matrix is one of many different cyberpunk pieces of media that I discuss, not too extensively, but to an extent. Mainly, it's about how a lot of it's about how Elon Musk is a complete dork, and I think should have had his I don't know, like he's like. I don't know, I won't say too much, but like I've had to look at more footage of Elon Musk than humanly should be allowed.
Oh no!
And I've only used like 3 minutes of it. I've watched about hours of Elon Musk, and I've only used like a couple minutes of footage of him. But like,
I just played through Cyberpunk now that it works.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's my favorite Cyberpunk thing. Like I loved the game. I thought it was really good. I think it's much better world building than the Matrix. That's probably my top.
Have you
right now?
seen
Yeah, I really like it.
Ghost of Shell?
I have.
Yes. No. Yeah. Of course. And the show also a standalone complex.
Oh, it's fantastic. Sorry, Akram.
I have two responses to that. Firstly, my favorite cyberpunk IP is Stray.
Stray's
hands
good.
down.
Oh, the cat one. Yeah, I've been wanting to play that.
Stray's really good.
Oh my god, that I haven't had a cat in a long time, and I really like cats. So playing that game, I was feeling a little emotional that day, and I might have cried a little bit because the cat is so believable. But anyway, my second thing is one of my biggest problems with Matrix as a trans allegory thing is that and it's kind of my problem with a lot of fan favorite trans allegory things is that it's not a direct one-to-one. I remember I watched a video essay where somebody was like, see the scene where Trinity and Neo are making out and Neo doesn't have a lot of body hair, he's basically a trans femme. And I was just that's the worst thing I've ever heard. For one thing, incredibly racist because Keanu Reeves is a young Asian man. Also, it's not Neo isn't literally a trans woman. It's just supposed to be a breakdown of systems. You know, it's how systems aren't real, and they're only as real as we let them be. But anyway.
No, I also just have a personal pet peeve when people say a piece of art is something definitively. Just because that's so hard to prove, and often it's just not the case. Not every media is Animal Farm, where it's a one-to-one for something, but we do kind of fall into these traps. So I think saying something like The Matrix is a trans allegory is probably very much not correct, because you can't one-to-one everything. I think it's more accurate to say that it's relatable to a trans experience, but it's also relatable to a lot of outsider experiences, which is why it's such a broad film. But I do also think, because the message is so broad, I think there is a lot of truth, unfortunately, to the Chud, red pillar interpretation as well. And that's kind of what my video goes into. Is what I ignoring everything else, ignoring the fandom, ignoring the creators and all that, just looking at the film and the franchise itself, you do see that there is some kind of there's a selfishness in the Matrix that I don't think is talked about, and that's what my video's about.
That's a good interpretation. By the way, Madeline, 68% people agree with you in the chat, so you're good there.
Thank you.
And I do want to read some super chats before we get started too much because there's a few lingering.
Go for it.
And Krim, I know you're about to say something, so we'll come back to you right after that. But you'll probably have some thoughts on these super chats right here. Angels Art and Gaming, thank you for super chat. Me, I don't really like Attack on Titan. I'm CD for real. Okay, that's valid. I'm not an Attack on Titan fan either, so I'm with you there. Jack Sheehy, thank you for super chat. Which fictional characters in media do you think represents Elon Musk as the dumb idiot that he is? Mine is Miles from Glass Onion. I'm kind of with you on that one as well. Elon Musk is... I mean, Glass Onion's the obvious answer, I think, because, like, it's so one-to-one Elon Musk. But, what do you two think?
I feel like there's a guy from Stargate SG-1 that reminded me of Elon Musk. Like, there's this one guy, I can't remember what his name. He's from one of the early seasons. He's one of the human enemies, where he's like this political grifter that takes credit for everything, but ends up being a very small man that just wants to climb the power hierarchy, and he like... But at the end of the day, the only loyalty he has is to himself. And like...
So Elon Musk, basically.
Yeah. Let me, like, you say your thing, Natty, and I'll... Actually, can I call you that, or do you want me to call you Madeline only?
I mean, I like Madeline. I'm getting more used to Maddie. I used to not like it because of some very strange dead naming from, like, when I first came out. But I am warming up to it. But Madeline, I tell people, is always the safe bet.
I had a good friend growing up named Madeline that went by Maddie as a nickname. So I apologize if I slip up.
Well, it's more just like I in 1 week I had two bizarre instances. One, I went to a Denny's to get food and I said my name was Maddie and they wrote it down Matty.
Oh God.
And then I had a correspondence with somebody in an org that I was part of at the time where they dead named me. I had just come out, so it was like they probably just didn't know. And then they sent me a response email saying, "Oh, sorry, we just found out that you have a new name and all that. So we apologize, Maddie, Mattie." And yeah, I was like, I'm done.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'll try. I'll try not to do that.
That was 5 years ago, so I'm getting used to it now.
Okay.
I'll do my best to make sure that I'm referring to you the way you want to be referred to.
Thank you. No, I obviously same with you. Do I just call you Crimson Ender? Is that, or do you want me to?
Crim is the greatest. Somebody was calling me Ender for a little bit, and I was like, okay.
It's like you just end things, end it all.
Oh, weird, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, it's literally just a reference. It's just a Minecraft reference. Like, this name comes from my Minecraft name tag, like user tag. So Crim is fine.
Cool.
There's a few more super chats, but so Madeline, just tell me what you think.
I was gonna say also, I agree, Glass Onion, because that character was designed to be Elon Musk. I guess any kind of like billionaire that can just kind of do whatever they want.
Don't say that. That's
in
Tony.
Fiction, that's Elon Musk.
Don't say that.
They shouldn't.
Don't say that, because that means that under that umbrella counts Tony Stark, and I think he'd want that comparison.
Hey, you know what? Here's a hot take. Tony Stark is what we imagine rich people to be, when in reality they are not. They are like Elon Musk.
I think either that or
I'll be honest with you.
Tony Stark is. Tony Stark is propaganda to try and make people like Elon Musk look cooler.
I've never liked Tony Stark. I'm sorry, fuck that guy.
That's gonna come up. That's gonna come into play later, actually. Tony Stark.
Wow, what is there a franchise with Tony Stark that we're gonna talk about?
There might be one. There might be one that's kind of noteworthy.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this.
Also, I remembered what the character's name is. It's Harry Mayborn, from Stargate SG-1.
Sorry.
That was my was my comparison. He came up through military, but he still is very much in personality and essence very Elon Musk.
That makes sense.
You know, I just thought of one. Gonna sound kind of like a weird choice. Newt Scamander from Fantastic Beasts.
Really?
And if you, I have a video about it. But no, I think if you actually watch that movie, he doesn't know what he's doing or what he's talking about, but people just believe he's great anyway. So yeah, I would say that's another one.
I think that's also an issue with the fact that their writers are neoliberals.
I think it's the fact that the writers were not good at writing. J.K. Rowling.
And like, I know that people are like, what even is a neoliberal these days? But like, to put it very plainly, not to get too political on your stream, Anthony, but like neoliberals are very much the not in my backyard kind of person. The person that like clicks their tongue and waves their finger and it's like, he really shouldn't be racist. But at the end of the day, they don't really want to change how their life is or have to sacrifice any of their luxuries and such to actually make a concrete change in their neighborhood or in the world at large.
Yeah, so J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. Exactly. Well, because that's the whole problem with the book is it's like, racism bad. It's bad to be mean to magical creatures.
But slavery is okay.
It's just the it's not so much that it's okay. It's bad, but like that's just the way things are. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and Krim, I'm a socialist, so don't even worry. I'm with you on all this.
Oh, by the way, there's a few more super chats I want to get through before we jump on the topic at hand. I just want to read these two real quick. If that's okay. Angels Art and Gaming.
Orbiting the topic.
It's all orbiting. These are all response to the topic, so it's all relevant. Angel and Gaming, thank you, Soup Chat. If you or a loved one has been exposed to Elon Musk, you are entitled to financial compensation. Can't wait for that video, but I feel bad.
Aww.
Yeah, I hear you there. Blue Baron, thank you for Soup Chat. Was wondering if you think the grifterverse implode now, as in like grifters on YouTube. I mean, to an extent, but there's always gonna be grifters on YouTube. They're not gonna go.
Yeah,
anywhere.
no, grifting has been a part of America since its inception. So we're gonna always see it everywhere. Plus, unfortunately, Americans like grifters. You know, people
elect them.
I mean, look at that. Look at like Catch Me If You Can. We like con artists. They're interesting even when they're bad. So no, they're just gonna do something else. Like what? It was like the atheists. Then it was the then they became the alt-right. Then they became just
don't forget Gamergate too before that. But that's a whole discussion.
I was there during Gamergate.
Oh, I was there. I was there when the courage of men failed. I'm sorry.
I was there. Yes, I saw. They tried to throw The Ring. That was a free video game about depression.
Yeah. It should have ended that day. I'm kidding.
It was that was the weirdest week of my life, Gamergate. But anyway,
strange world. Anyway, so David Deister, one of the comments also said Gilderoy Lockhart would be an Elon Musk allegory, which I can see, but that's also an example of a good grifter. David Deister's comment.
I don't think Elon Musk is pretty enough to be Gilderoy Lockhart.
He wishes he was Gilderoy
Lockhart. He's also
like
not a good grifter. He's kind of sucks at what he does. He just has a lot of money, so he can't really fail all that much. Because if you're a billionaire, you never like stop being a billionaire. You're just that forever.
Yeah, I feel Gilderoy Lockhart's more stolen valor than anything else, which is a very specific thing. All right, David Deister, I would say Gilderoy Lockhart is the best representation of Elon Musk or even Donald Trump. I don't know if I'd agree with you there. Definitely not Donald Trump, because no one would ever believe Donald Trump would like beat up a monster. He would never. I don't even think he'd pretend that. He'd probably say, "Okay, he made the best deals about monsters." I can't do a Donald Trump impersonation. And Nellen Bradley, last super chat before we move on to the topic at hand. Musk isn't even Justin Hammer. Hammer is actually as charismatic. Yeah, that's true. And he's had more success, I would say, Justin Hammer, than Elon Musk. Justin Hammer, in case anyone forgot, was in Iron Man 2, the Iron Man movie where Elon Musk actually just appears. He's actually in that movie, in case you forgot.
Okay, but what about Captain Hammer?
From the Joss Whedon one, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
he's too entertaining. Again, like Elon Musk
too
pretends like
Nathan
he's
Fillion.
a genius when he's not. Captain
Well,
Hammer's
I
just kind of like
would-
a himbo.
I would love if Nathan Fillion played like Elon Musk in a parody movie.
I would love that.
So good
It would
at
be too
playing
charismatic.
assholes.
I would
It would
love
be
it.
So good at
Charismatic,
playing
like-
assholes.
He's great when he plays
True.
Nat. Like I watching like Firefly, I kept thinking like you should just play assholes forever. It's just.
Can you imagine? Okay, Patrick Warburton playing Trump and Nathan Fillion playing Elon Musk.
You know, what would be a good Elon.
I
Musk
hate how much I like that. I hate
know
how
what would
funny
be-
that is.
You know, what would be a good Elon Musk in a movie would be Giovanni Ribisi would be a great Elon Musk.
See, that's
from-
actually probably a good answer, but I think Nathan Fillion has.
What?
Elon
I'm not
Musk.
allowed to have a good answer.
No, but it's so funny though. I can
just
see
thought
him
that-
playing it, but like,
you know what? I'm a genius. Hire me to be a casting director.
all right. One last super chat before we get into the topic, and actually this will be relevant today. What are your thoughts on the Muppet franchise? Great question. That's a great transition into the
All right.
topic at hand.
Here's what I think. If you say one fucking word about the Muppet franchise, you have not wrought the kind of autistic rage that would come out of my mouth, Anthony. Don't you fucking start.
I've talked about the
Oh
Muppets
my
before.
god.
I talked about the
That'll
Muppets
kill
before
you.
in a video. Months ago, in fact.
As a fellow autist, I I like the Muppets. They're cool.
Muppets are
keep
great.
my-
I love the
will
Muppets.
glaze.
Muppets forever. Muppets forever. That's
I
fine.
love the Muppets.
I have looked into building my very own Muppet style puppets. So
I love the Muppets. Muppets are
it's
great.
serious. It's chronic with me.
Okay, I'm gonna stack your head atop. Okay, I'm gonna stack. I'm just arranging the
We're
icons for a
skipping
second.
a little bit on this.
Also, because you flip every time somebody flips my icon,
Mm-hmm.
the freckle turns up on the wrong side of my face.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Krim, I've moved your face behind Madeline's head, so now we're stacked
Oh, no.
together. We're stacked on top of each other. It's
Yay!
it's a great system.
We're
of-
like a human centipede of YouTube personalities.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, that's a
Don't
perfect comparison.
don't say that. There's already weird fan art
Is that
happening.
franchise
with
on here? The
circles.
Human Centipede?
Oh God.
No, unfortunately, there is not. I'm upset by that. Now that I say that, I'm very upset by that. That's disappointing. There are other horror franchises on here, though.
We could probably talk about ones that aren't on here, even if.
That's 100% true. Let's talk about the Muppets first,
we can
because
I'm ready to go
whatever we
through
want
these.
to.
I have thoughts on all
yeah.
this.
okay, good. One last super chat before we get started. Jack Sheehy, do you think Marvel might bounce back with the Fantastic Four since the trailer felt very whimsical and different for the last few MCU projects? Again, very relevant to the topic at hand. We'll answer and get to the Marvel, but that's a great question. That will come up later because the MCU is definitely a topic of discussion here. But yeah, no, Muppets aren't on here. So the way we're gonna do this ranking, let's name the ranks right now. So S rank isn't just S; it's more movie now, please. As in, we need this a sequel to this tomorrow.
So this is we're like
collectively.
we're giving suggestions, but this is your ranking.
No, it's a collective. It's a collective effort.
Oh, collect. Okay.
So if I say one's S, you say one's F, and Krim says one's B, we'll find like the average between those and like smush it
I
together.
have a feeling that may happen a lot. I'm just guessing.
I do too. It's gonna be fun.
I think that we should also be able to like argue our case, not just like
Yeah.
split the difference.
Mm-hmm.
If like somebody's like, no, here's why I think it's A, and I'm gonna sell it to you, we should hear them out.
100% agree. I think arguing is more fun than just saying it. We're not just
Love
gonna say, "Oh,
arguing
A,
at
oh,
work.
B." We want to. I want some debates going on here because I feel like we're gonna get some heated stuff at some point during this
I
discussion.
love fetching with my friends.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, you said you wanted to fight me for real, so let's fight. We're doing it now.
I mean, I guess I've only just met Madeline, but like, I don't know. I just have good feelings.
You have a good feeling you can beat her
I
in a
have
fight.
good feelings that we're going to be able to destroy Anthony together.
This works.
Aw, or we all just destroy each other. Let's see how long we
Amazing.
last as
True
friends
friendship.
by the end of this video.
One video.
One video, that's it. We just never talk to each other again.
Exactly.
Ooh, got an interesting super chat.
Yes. So while I'm naming these categories, GRF1556, thank you for Super Chat. How do you three feel about people who say Hollywood has run out of ideas when you know they've only watched franchise films and or they're under the age of 22? I think they are not seeing enough. I think they need to watch more movies. Like The Substance came out this year.
Well, hold on. I'm not. I don't like how. I mean, no offense to Griffin 1556, but I think the tone of the question is a little off. I think what's important to understand is that Hollywood has never really had ideas. Like Hollywood has always been the machine to make money. Like when we say Hollywood is out of ideas, what's actually happening is that people are pitching original ideas to Hollywood. They're just not doing them because they have a new system, or it's really again the same old system that makes a lot of money. And trust me, there are plenty of people older than 22 that are saying this too. This is not just kids are uncultured kind of thing. This is how Hollywood wants us to think that we've just always had, for instance, I don't know, superhero movies. It's always just been superhero movies forever. You've never not seen superhero movies or whatever. I don't know. I just the phrase in the question was I just wanted to correct that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that, like, what the fuck do you mean by Hollywood? Like, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? What does that mean to this discussion? Because I'm going to be honest, like, some of the biggest hits haven't, like the biggest hits in North America and in the Anglosphere haven't come out of Hollywood. They've come out of Vancouver. Like, I feel like framing Hollywood as, like, this big superstar that's making all the movies that we know is, like... I don't think that's fair. What did I watch? I just watched Lighthouse.
Lighthouse is fantastic.
That was made in Nova Scotia, where I live. Like, and it had funding from the Canadian government. And I get it. I know what people mean. They mean the big suits and the capitalist movie, machine. But like this is like kind of like a collection of companies that kind of controls all the money, but like it is fundamentally made up of people that want to be creative. Like they're the ones coming up with ideas, just like Madeline said.
Agreed.
But also, again, like there's more system. There's like the Bollywood system. There's the the Japanese movies. There's Vancouver. There, like, not in Canada. There's more than just Vancouver too. There's Montreal. There's Nova Scotia. There's Toronto. Like, and I'm just talking about North America at this time. And even in the States, there's like more than just Hollywood. Like there's.
Well, I think the example I always think of is Kevin Smith. He just started making movies in New Jersey, the opposite end of the country as Hollywood. So I think.
I think. Sorry, I just want to because I think Hollywood is kind of just a shorthand. I think for blockbuster films made by one of like the 6 or 7 studios that have millions and billions of dollars. So if you're saying those people specifically are out of ideas, again, they've never had ideas.
They've just funded other people's ideas.
Yeah, no, I think it's like saying like corporations are bad. It's like saying Hollywood is, it's a. I personally, I don't have a problem with that as a catch-all, but because for me it's like you're talking about a blockbuster giant movie that comes out whenever that costs millions of dollars. But.
I just like again, like I can't say too much because I use Hollywood as sort of this idea, this stand-in for the big corporate films. But I think it's really important to know what are we talking about when we say Hollywood bad. I think it's like every time you have the discussion, you really have to define your terms because like it means different things to different people.
100% agree. That's all I have to say there on that one. And I think also telling that Bong Joon-ho's new film is like right there. No one's gonna. I don't think it's gonna get as big an audience as say Captain America 4, but it's gonna get kind of overshadowed by those bigger blockbusters. But there's so much original filmmaking in Hollywood and in the world right now that I think people should just embrace. There's a movie that's coming out at A24 is pumping out with what's the comedian from I Think You Should Leave? Oh, it's gonna drive me
Oh,
crazy. What's his name?
God.
Yeah, he's gonna
Someone
be
in the
with
chat knows it.
He's gonna be in a movie with Paul Rudd that looks really called Friendship. That looks really good.
Okay.
And it looks like it's just an atypical like comedy. Not at all.
Tim
like,
Robinson?
Tim
Is that who it
Robinson.
is?
There we go. Tim Robinson. Yeah, there we go. That's him. It looks so funny.
It's not a super chat, but I just want to shout out a regular chat, Blue Baron, who says we need more Kung Pao Enter the Fists. That is correct.
100%
That
agree.
is an S rank.
All right, I do want to read a few more super chats, and we'll get started with the tier list, with the discussion. Adrian Parchman, thank you for super chat. I'm disappointed that you don't have Scooby-Doo. We will discuss Scooby-Doo. We are going to discuss things not on this list. I didn't make this tier list. Someone else did. I'm just using it because I didn't have enough time to make a tier list on my own, and I thought I'd forget something. Jack Sheehy, thank you for super chat. MCU headcanon is that Elon is actually a Hydra spy. That would be a bad idea because he'd be bad at lying. He would be bad at concealing it. The guy can't keep his mouth shut.
He also literally just threw
a
a fucking
yeah. He wouldn't be spying. He wouldn't be hiding it. He would just be doing it.
Hydra would never.
Even Hydra would be like, even like the Red Skull would be like, oh, this guy needs to be a little more subtle.
Chill out a little bit, dude. Chill.
Yeah, right. And Nick Wolf, thank you for super chat. Bland take, but taking risk is important. Dragon Ball was innovative because aging up the characters and moving forward was unheard of. But now the franchise is stuck in a pre-end of Z limbo and no end in sight. Oh, I 100% agree with you on that one. Dragon Ball has really struggled since Z ended, really since GT, because it hasn't taken enough risks. Even GT took a few risks that were interesting. I think Daima has been taking a few interesting decisions creatively, but even then it's too short for my tastes personally. Anyway, so here's the tier list. Let's just get started with it right now. A rank, more movie now, please. Those are the best franchises. We're gonna put very few up here, most likely. Great series that keeps delivering. So really solid franchise, consistently really good. Maybe a couple entries aren't the best, but it's really good. Good series that should end. So this is like, oh, it's good. It's been really solid. They should stop making these. You know. Next one, I'll wait for Netflix. I don't care too much. I'll watch it if it's around. I'm not feeling particularly strong about it either way. They fell off. Something that has gotten really bad over the last few years. Why are they making these? Self-explanatory. And finally, my favorite category, burn it with fire.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get started with...
Oh, I'm seeing things that I already have so many big opinions on.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. All right, let's just go in order here, because I feel like that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's start with The Godfather, which I think of as two perfect films, and the third one.
Can I be honest with
Go
you
for
and
it.
real and vulnerable?
Please.
I've never seen The Godfather.
That's fine. I mean, I saw the first. I've seen the first two. I would say as high of a rank as possible because Part 4 sounds like the dumbest idea in the world.
They should never.
And I really want to see that.
They should never make a Part 4.
Part 4 sounds so funny to me because it's like that's a bad idea. Like nobody should do that, which is why I want to see it.
That's fair.
So
I would love to.
Yeah, that's tough.
Especially considering the state of filmmaker that Francis Ford Coppola is right now with like Megalopolis.
If he does, a Megalopolis style Godfather, yes, I will be first in line.
100%.
Yes.
Can you make a custom? Can you make an additional rank that's like a little funny haha? That would be funny. Not
Yes.
the intention. Can you make it custom?
Yeah, do that.
I don't like you patronize me. This is an honest answer I am giving about. Lol. Yeah,
I need
lol.
more
Yeah,
for the
I agree.
worst
Lol,
reasons.
LOL. Amazing. Amazing.
I need more for the worst reasons. The Godfather.
I don't even. What would that even be? I'm so.
Well,
curious.
they were okay. This is actually a little known fact. There were actual plans to make a fourth
jeez.
Godfather movie, but they canceled it because it was too dumb. And the third one was not very popular.
Can I pitch a fourth Godfather movie as somebody
Yes.
that hasn't seen Godfather but has like a little crowd of zoomies in my server that are very like autistic about Godfather?
Yes.
Aw. That's a
and
very,
I
I
love
like
them.
that. Autistic about Godfather. That's beautiful to me.
It is beautiful. I love watching them yap about Godfather, and I don't understand what they're saying, but it's lovely. Okay, it's set long after the future where the family's kind of like, it's kind of dissolved a little bit. And I don't know, I'm thinking something very Logan almost without the superpowers, obviously, but it's kind of like it's kind. I'm being serious, by the way. Like, this isn't my joke.
This is like legitimate
Joke pitch. This is like a legitimate
idea
pitch that I think would be kind of interesting, where you kind of have like a comparison between how things like organized crime and how like it's changed so much over the years. And not just that, like I think it would be interesting to examine how in a lot of disenfranchised communities that it gets complicated with like quote unquote organized crime and stuff like that, like because sometimes people need to be protected, sometimes there are things that they legitimately get done that maybe not legitimately in a legal sense, but like there is sometimes a need for is the term extrajudicial? I don't know, but like operating outside of the law and the standard things of society, and how I don't know. I think it'd be kind of if it was a little bit meta. I think too would be interesting.
Okay, so Krim, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever seen The Irishman?
I have not.
That is basically what you just described. you basically just described The Irishman.
Well, it's all like the Godfather movies themselves are also that. They are about like the changing of generations and how crime changes. I'd like to see a Godfather that destroys the myth making of the original movies, because like that kind of screwed over how we see gangsters as like these cool, fascinating people like Goodfellas and Casino. And no, like gangsters are kind of just not. They're kind of dumb like anyone else, and I think that would be more interesting.
Well, I'd make the argument that that was what the what part what was it that part 2 did really. Like part 2 really did that deconstruction element, because the first film builds Michael Corleone up as this great grand figure, and then the second film does one thing that's really great. It takes place in 2 time periods. It shows how Vito Corleone rose to power, Michael's father, and then it shows how and how Vito brought his family together. He raised a family. He raised this crime organization. Then you watch how Michael gains new heights in power and beats everyone, but
Council
also
of Geeks is here.
What? Who? Council Geeks? Oh, hey, Council Geeks. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Council of Geeks.
Hi. I saw that in the chat. I saw you in the chat. No, but like in the second, and what Michael does is he alienates everyone. He ruins his family, but achieves great power. So it's very interesting, that kind of dichotomy, I think. I think Goodfellas and Casino are more morality stories than anything else. Anyway, so let's read a few super chats, then we'll move on to the next one, because I feel like everyone wants to talk about that one. Will you share the template for this tier list? It's in the chat description. Liam Bell, I did not care for The Godfather. Is that like the Family Guy quote?
Yeah.
I love it.
Family Guy joke.
I did not care for The Godfather. Nick
It's
Wolf.
something I didn't care for. It's just a little too close to home for me.
That's fair. It was close to home for me too, because I'm Italian, but that makes sense there.
Yeah, that was what my wedding was like. The exact same thing.
It really is. It was though. That's what my wedding was like.
My father for favors, killing people. A lot of dead horses.
Oh, there was tons of dead horses at my wedding. It was fantastic.
A lot of dead horses.
I'm sorry, that's terrible. Okay, couple quick chats. Godfather Part 4 is Megalopolis. Search your feelings. You're not wrong. You're really not wrong. I too think The Godfather Part 4 would be much better if you had what's her name, Aubrey Plaza in it. That'd be fantastic. Meow Neon, thank you for super chat. Godfather 3, despite its flaws, gave The Simpsons a great quote. This is worse than Godfather 3. Recently, there was a great video essay on Sofia Coppola and how Godfather 3 was unfair to her. Well, yeah, 100%, because Sofia Coppola was cast at the last second. It was originally going to be Winona Ryder, but then she was in this obscure film called Edward Scissorhands, so she couldn't be in The Godfather Part 3. I don't think anyone saw that film, Edward Scissorhands. I don't think it was a very popular film. But he cast her at the last second. But then brought her back for Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, which is, I think, a much better film, The Godfather Part 3. Anyway,
Godfather Part 3, Part 4, I mean, would be better if Dracula was in it.
that's also very true. Dracula would make Godfather Part, especially the Bram Stoker's Dracula, where he has like the big bulging like hair and the Keanu Reeves getting blood sucked by like people. Be great. Great movie. Okay, let's take our spiciest takes right now with the biggest franchise on this whole list, Marvel Studios. This counts for the entire MCU. This is a franchise that is massively, massively, massively long.
Can I
go for it?
I'll wait. Yeah.
Okay, so like I don't really care about like the main movies, but I have kind of liked the more offbeat like little limited series. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be killed with hammers, but I'm gonna say it.
I think I
like
agree with you.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk's good.
I like She-Hulk. I liked Loki. I liked a lot of those little weird movies. I liked What If was kind of okay. Like sometimes it was hit or miss for me. But I was like, actually, you know what? This is what comic books are about. This is what superheroes are about. These kind of like weird offbeat little stories that are kind of connected to a bigger narrative, but you don't really worry about it in the grand scheme of things.
100%.
Don't think about it too hard.
100%. I loved Ms. Marvel. I loved that series so much. I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ms. Marvel was so good.
It's so good. For one, you got the great family dynamic. For that two, you got like these great characters who are like realistic and they fit the world and they seem that they exist in the world that they live in. Like it's not just, oh hey, you're just a normal teenager in New Jersey. No, it's like you're a teenager in a world where superheroes exist and you're a fangirl. Like that element is so fun. And also, little biased here, because Krim, I know you'll fanboy whenever you have a Canadian production or Nova Scotia shows up. New Jersey, I'm down for that. Anything in New Jersey, I'm like, yeah. Especially Jersey City. It's not too far from where I am. I'm like, that's really cool. I like that. Granted,
Miss Marvel felt very real, too.
Yeah, it really did. And that's because they had human characters and they focused on writing people well. And I'll say this, I love a lot of the more bombastic MCU stuff. Like, you can't not have a big grin on your face whenever, like, they do some crazy cool thing. But, like, I don't know. I think the MCU has done some really good stuff when it's the more human narrative. I think where it fumbles for me is where you get films that shouldn't be the big film trying to be the big film, where they forget the humanity in the writing. Like,
but here's the thing, Anthony. That's always been the case for Marvel. They've been really good at human stories. That's just been the case the whole time. Marvel's been pretty good at like really human, small, close-up stories. DC's been kind of better at handling the big, like, characters that are more ideas and symbols than they are people.
Agreed. I agree. I think it's one of those things where Marvel really succeeds when it's the human stories, and they really struggle when they're trying to be gigantic. But when they hit, they hit. And I'll say this, I am really excited for the Thunderbolts and for the Fantastic Four, because I feel like I'm based on the trailers alone, I can really see that human angle to it. And that gets me excited because you can see the humanity between the characters. You see the sense of camaraderie. You see the sense of antagonism. You get the sense that these are people with vulnerable human problems that they're dealing with. And that really works based on the trailers alone. Whereas the new Captain America film, as much as I want to see it, and I will see it, I'm not as excited for it because I feel like it's just like a thriller. But I'm not seeing a human narrative through it. I'm just seeing, here's the president, and he's Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross, and here's Cap. He's going to be proving himself, and I'm sure it'll be great. But, like, I don't get the sense of humanity I get from the other two projects that really draws me in. And that's my opinion anyway. But I think I'm more of an MCU defender, I think, than a lot of people might be, especially nowadays, because there were some lesser entries. I think What If, for me, I didn't care for all that much. I loved X-Men 97. I think
yes.
I don't know if that counts here. I think X-Men's its own thing on this list. Yeah, X-Men's its own thing, so we'll count X-Men separately from everything else. That includes Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, there's also I'm really excited in general for the mutants to be coming back to Marvel
100%.
on the screen.
Did you see the rumors that
the little stinger? The stinger at the end of Miss Marvel,
was Miss Marvel? Because the Marvel Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
was,
it was one of. when they had that little musical sting, I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's Ms. Marvel. Because
yeah.
the Marvels also has that musical sting, and then just puts Beast on screen, which I'm like,
Yeah,
yes, Beast.
both times I was like, oh my god, yes, please, gimme.
You don't realize how much.
Sorry to be a millennial.
No. But I don't think I realized how much I missed the mutants until I saw the Kelsey Grammer Beast show back up. I'm like, oh my god, yes, Beast, please come back. Because like you think, oh yeah, I love the X-Men, they're great. But then you see Beast on screen, you're like, oh frick, oh my god, I miss them so much.
It's him. It's he. Here he comes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Anyways, we've been steamrolling Madeline for like I think the past 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sorry. What's your opinion on the MCU,
Madeline?
Madeline?
No worries. MCU, yeah, it's an F. Burn it with fire. They gotta stop making these. No, like I'm not even making a joke here. I wish I was, because then I.
No, I'm laughing because you're so real.
Burn it now.
No, and you can quote me on this. I personally have thought the MCU's been dead since Avengers 2: Age of Ultron. Since 2015, and nothing that's happened has proven me wrong, to me, at least on that. You know, a lot of franchises I don't really care too much about whether people like it or not. And to the MCU, it's a little bit of that too, but I do think that the MCU has become such like a giant too big to fail institution that it does need to stop. Like everything has just kind of become MCU, so you know, like I just don't care about any of these movies, which to me is like worse than films being really bad. Like the MCU is just filled with like 6 out of 10s and 7 out of 10s, like just fine movies, boring movies, and I think the worst thing a film or a piece of art can be is like fine, like passable, like you know. And like I said, the last one I was kind of into, like, I mean, I kind of liked Age of Ultron. I know most people don't like that one. I thought it was like at least kind of interesting. I haven't been really into I haven't really liked anything MCU since. I've stopped watching like a ton of MCU stuff. I think I saw Guardians Part 3, which I did like. I think that's probably the best of those movies. But like for the most part, I just haven't watched it. I watched WandaVision, which I liked until halfway through, and it became the worst show of all time. And
I wouldn't put that so that far.
We're gonna make this so bad now.
I like the prestige stuff, and
I don't know why they decided to make it terrible, but no, I think Marvel. No, I think Marvel, as an MCU Studios, I think it does need to stop, because by design, it's made to be the same movie over and over again, so that the guys can all fight like action figure style in the big meetup movies. I think they got to stop making them. But you know, you can make like a X-Men Spider-Man movie; those are fun. But no, the MCU, I think it's done. Fire.
No, I think we're counting Spider-Man and X-Men as separate from the rest of Marvel Studios. I feel like they're very distinct.
They're also
elements.
like the best ones. I mean,
that's the other thing too.
Like, I don't like I mean, I don't care if you like the MCU. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat in here that do. I hate the movies. I think they're so boring. They're so forgettable. I just can't. I can't with the MCU.
Well, that's fine.
I just can't. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I see someone saying that WandaVision would have been bad without the twist.
No, incorrect.
Slightly disagree.
No, yeah.
Here's my hot take. Here's my take.
I
think that definitely there should have been an explanation of why it was happening the way it was happening. I just don't like how it played out. On that note, if you liked the energy of WandaVision in like the first half of the first season, check out Severance. Severance kind of played.
Oh yeah, that's been on my list for a while.
Yeah, it's absolutely not the same exact thing, but that sort of sensation of unreality and being like immersed in this other world and like how it plays with that. and the way it builds up and reveals the mystery and the secrets, I think it does it way better. Doing it in a completely different way with a completely different kind of contained world, but
yeah, absolutely.
it gave me that same feeling that the first half of WandaVision did, but it was so much better.
I would say also watch Twin Peaks or Blue Velvet. That also has a very similar
Twin
vibe
Peaks is
too.
great. I love Twin Peaks.
I love that vibe.
Oh, 100%. There's a few super chats I want to read that are relevant to the discussion. I'm going to read them real quick. Then we're going to rank the MCU before moving on to the rest of the franchises, because I feel like Marvel Studios is the most contentious in a lot of ways, but the rest are very like I have a lot of feelings on also. Nick Wolf, She-Hulk good, but I wish when Jen rewrote the ending that Chudmeister takes the serum like before, only to start pissing and shitting himself. Yeah, that'd be funny. Not gonna lie, I would enjoy that. I do like how She-Hulk wrapped up, but I think that'd be very funny if he started like just completely like embarrassing himself after he takes the serum.
Dive up. I'm into it.
Hugh Stewart, how much of the Sentry gets translated to the MCU? Well, Sentry, spoilers potentially for the Thunderbolt. It looks like we're going to get the Sentry in that. Can't say how much. It looks like they're going to do the Void as well, which would be kind of fun, but can't speak for sure on that front. Nicholas Macy, thank you for Super Chat. Glad to see She-Hulk get some appreciation. Yeah, She-Hulk is underrated, I think. I think it's way too overhated for very arbitrary reasons, I think. Angels Art and Gaming, thank you for Super Chat. My problem for a while with Marvel, and this will come up with Star Wars too, is the fact that you had to watch certain shows or movies to understand the films or series. I'll elaborate with Star Wars. I think the MCU doesn't have that as much as people seem to think it does. I know it'd just be a video where I talked about like doing homework to follow stuff in the MCU, but like I think Marvel generally does a good job reestablishing characters. I think the Marvels was a little sloppy with it, but the Marvels was also very, very short relative to the average MCU.
I think it also kind of does it in the same way that comic books do it. Like
100%.
That's always been like a staple of superheroes and comics. You can just read like Justice League or Teen Titans or like Young Justice, but you would get a lot more context if you also read like Nightwing, Superboy, Robin, Impulse, Batman, Superman. Like it would just inform you a lot, or you could just pick and choose which ones you want. That's just kind of how. And I'm saying DC names, even though we're talking about Marvel, but like that's just because I'm more of a. It's the same thing. Like you can watch, you can like read just X-Men, but you would get so much more out of it if you also read Wolverine and et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of like read as much as you want, and you'll get back what you put into it. It's very like comic books aren't as they aren't as inapproachable as people think. I just think people assume that they work the same way that other sort of mediums work, and I think that's kind of what Marvel's trying to do. And I guess it's personally why I don't really have a problem with there being more Marvel stuff, like more MCU, even though I don't personally like a lot of the main MCU stuff, but I've never liked those characters. I've never liked Thor. They were B-listers back in the day, but like I've never
in some
enjoyed
cases.
those characters.
I would say Iron Man was a C-lister back in the day, honestly.
Yeah. But like
yeah.
I've never liked those characters. I've always liked the weird little goofballs and oddballs. Like, so that's what I continue to do that in the film.
Krim, would you say like you're a Gulp Shido fan?
Kind of. I'm not as now I'm talking about it. I have like all of this stuff I want to spurg about, but like
same.
Like my favorite like superhero is like a character that most people are like, oh, I didn't know that Barry Allen had a grandson, and it's like, yep.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, that is accurate. Impulse, right?
Yeah, Impulse.
Yeah, there we go. Dork. Love that dork.
Hey, fuck you.
It's like I say it with affection and love. Kate Cast reviews. Just read your super chat real quick. I think the MCU at its worst is still better than most blockbuster attempts in the last few years. Hot take, maybe. I wanted to go on forever. Sorry, that's not too much. Hot take.
I have a possible answer to that, and that's because blockbusters just are the MCU now. Like that's kind of like my
copying.
main like that's like my main problem like with the MCU is that like I don't if there's a franchise like if you're into Transformers as a franchise I don't care like that's fine like go like it but like MCU is like an institution now. It's like a genre on its own and it's just like because to me personally these films are like so blah and forgettable and bland. It's like everything just kind of feels like that now. Everyone's got the same witty Whedon-esque dialogue that just drives me up the wall. It's just and everything looks the same. All the CGI looks like a messy blah of barf. I'm sorry. I hate how mean I'm being about this, I just don't know.
I agree with everything coming out of your mouth. And can I give you a little fun fact?
Go for it.
So the Joss Whedon talk, the Buffy-isms, and I was talking about a little bit about it earlier in the chat, but that is not like a Joss Whedon original. That's like a Vancouver thing. And the problem is that like I don't think the cadence in which Canadians tend to speak and our humor translate well into typical like big American blockbuster comedy. We're kind of like our sense of humor tends to be dry and sarcastic and like very subtle or like
a lot of our biggest comedians come from Canada, though.
Yeah, ironically takes a swing and like in the other direction and says like the nastiest like toilet humor thing just to kind of catch you off guard. It's either like really subtle or it's like shits in your fucking lap. Like it's one or the other.
It's not even like that kind of stuff.
Well, what I think that like Joss Whedon was working on shows that were produced in Canada, noticed the way that Canadian actors tended to deliver their lines, and tried to emulate that in his dialogue, not understanding where it comes from and why it works, and now it's everywhere.
That's a fair theory, I think.
Like if you watch Stargate SG-1, if you watch Stargate SG-1, you're like, this kind of looks like Buffy-isms and kind of like how Joss Whedon writes, and it's like, yeah, it's people
I
copied it.
For me, it's not even like that. It's just like the content of the writing. It's always like so winking. It's so like there has to be a lampshade on like everything that's said. Like everything has to have like, oh no, did we just do that? Oh yeah, we just did that. Like it's just.
I'm gonna defend the MCU.
I don't know.
I'm gonna defend the MCU for a bit. I think that gets a little over exaggerated. How much of that's actually in Marvel versus imitators of Marvel. I think Marvel does that a lot less than people seem to think Marvel does it. And I think
I'm talking entirely from my experiences watching Marvel movies and being, I don't like how this is happening.
That's fair. But when I think of like the dialogue, an example that comes to mind immediately is Black Panther. I think those films, and you gotta keep in mind, it's all part of the same continuity. A movie like Black Panther, its dialogue is downright Shakespearean at times. There are some scenes in that are just pure, like, intense, no humor for like long stretches of the movie. Like there's a couple jokes here and there, but it's usually like fairly dramatic from start to finish. And even like Endgame has a lot of scenes where like, that's like there's a few scenes where it's like, oh, that's America's ass, jokes like that. But like usually it's even a lot of that movie, it's very like most dialogue isn't too jokey. There's some jokes, but it's not. But when appropriate, I think. He's right behind, like, well, that just happened kind of jokes. That's more the imitators I find of Marvel. I think that's more the Joss Whedon Justice League than
I
Marvel.
I admit that I'm being general because that's kind of the point of like a conversation like this. Like, obviously, you're going to find examples in the MCU that, aren't what I'm saying, and it's gonna be a personal thing that's like, I hate the MCU, but She-Hulk's the greatest show ever made. Like, sure. Like,
I would never say that. I would never say that.
Totally. I'm sure. I'm talking generally. There's somebody out there that's like that. But like for me, the MCU, if I'm talking about as a general, all-encompassing franchise, I just think my biggest complaint is that like 99 or 9 out of 10 times it's the most boring, passable thing I've ever seen. And also, I'm sorry, Black Panther is bad. I don't like that movie.
Really?
The sequel is also bad. I'm sorry. I don't.
That's
like
a
them.
hot
They're not good.
take. That's a hot take.
It's not good movies. They kind of suck.
Oh, is that
can I defend my? Can I defend my earlier position though?
Yes. Go
Of
for it.
the Vancouver style acting getting copied
Yes,
by
go for it.
Joss Whedon.
Go for it.
Okay, so again, not to glaze SG1, but it's one of my favorite. But I think it's my favorite sci-fi franchise of all time. So I'm going to main character O'Neill, played by Richard Dean Anderson of MacGyver fame. Tends to lampshade a lot. It's like, oh, that's a cliche. Like, very, very sarcastic. But he also has these really genuine moments. And in the 90s, was doing things like showing very physical affection with his castmates. Like, he tended, like, even though he, like, kind of played this gruff, like, military guy, he tended to, like, touch people's arms and, like, have these very genuine, like, sweet, emotional moments that you didn't really see in a lot of stuff at that time. So that kind of like sarcastic, bitey commentary, it was mostly unique to him and his banter with like one other character, and B, was balanced out with like how much he cared and those moments where you didn't see any of that sarcasm and he was just pure, genuine, like a loving person. And I find that like I get where you're both coming from, that like it does get overplayed a lot, but I feel like Madeline is right in that it's almost like people they're not brave enough to not make something ironic.
That's
you know what
fair.
I mean? Like they can't just let it sit and let it be. Like, you don't have to be like, isn't this so cringe? Isn't this such a cliche? Haha, aren't we so quirky? Like, you don't have to say that out loud. You can just do the thing and, like, trust your audience to not make fun of you, I guess. And
Right.
I feel like,
Agreed.
I feel like a lot of things are not brave enough to do that anymore. And I think that
I think
started
you also-
with
Well,
the MCU.
sincerity is a big. Okay, there's a few more comments I want to read right here. And I agree. I agree with you.
Can I say a really quick thing?
Go for
Because
it.
I agree with what Krim is saying. Because I mean, yeah, that really kind of gets down to the main problem that we're talking about is that it's overexposure. Like, you know, I love Buffy. You know, I liked Firefly and all that stuff. And at the time, yeah, like that kind of dialogue was like fun and new. But now, like everything's that dialogue, so it's not new. It's just kind of not fun anymore. And that's just kind of what happens when like a very specific writing style becomes like everything. It just kind of becomes, please do anything else. Like, I mean, I get the American version of this is like God, what's his name, the guy who did West Wing,
Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin,
which I also hate. That's also like very talky, very like chummy, like it's just like it's the kind of dialogue that's like so proud of itself that it kind of gets very cringe, to borrow a word from them. And I think that really is it. Like at a time, Joss Whedon and Sorkin were interesting, but now it's like we've moved past this, yet it seems every movie is still doing this exact same thing. And yeah, it's just I can't watch the same thing over and over. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, I think it's a good thing also that. Oh, sorry.
Let's be like kind and not weird towards specific guests just because they have an opinion you might not agree with. They're in the chat. Don't be fucking jerks.
Oh, I was going to be is chat saying something? I was eyeing the super chats more than anything else.
No, I just caught somebody just
being rude.
Being a little rude.
Okay, this is a place of opinions and debate, so let's not be mean about anything, okay? Like seriously, like I didn't see the comment specifically, so I can't speak to the specific one, but I think we have to be accepting of like the fact that this is designed to have an argument by design, and that's the fun of it. That's the fun. I saw
the comment. Okay.
I'll probably see it once I finish reading these super chats. I do want to get to these super chats because I think that some of them have been sitting on here for a little while, so I'll read these real quick. Because I'm bored, thank you for super chat. It's funny having a Batman hyperfixation because the rest of the DC fan base is sick of him getting all the representation, and I'm like, more please. We'll get to Batman later. Meow Nyan, is Trek on here? Because Section 31 was bad. Yeah, Star Trek's on here. We'll get to that soon enough. Because I'm bored, lest we forget the Whedon cut of Justice League, which I think embodies everything Madeline is saying in the worst possible way. That is, like, I think I have disagreements on whether or not the Marvel universe really is using Joss Whedon dialogue as much as people think it is. But if you want an example of why the Joss Whedon hyper quantity of, like, quips and all that doesn't work, the Joss Whedon Justice League is a prime example of that. By Giuseppe Odera. All right, I'm late. What I miss? Conquest distracts people sometimes. You missed us talking about Marvel. Nick Wolf. All right, hour 1 of 7 is done. Let's go. That is maybe more accurate depending on how long we spent talking about Marvel. I think based on the discussion, I'm going to put a pin on Marvel for now because there is a lot of other franchise to get to. I think we should put
I think I'll wait for Netflix is where I would put it personally.
Think so? I think given the divide and given the range of quality for Marvel, because I think we all agree that not every piece of content is equal with Marvel. I think the very best should go very high. I think the very worst should go very low. And I think given the range of discussion we have, I think in the middle is probably the best place to put it right now. Chloe's laughing at us for only putting one thing on here.
Fuck you, Chloe.
Yeah. You're always welcome on here, Chloe. You know you have access to the same chat we use.
Yeah, come on, and I'll fight you.
Come on, Chloe, let's fight.
Let's go. You listen, Chloe. Considering the last stream that me, you, and Anthony did together, and how long that lasted, and we were talking about freaking outfits from Cardcaptor Sakura, I don't think you have any room to talk, Miss Ma'am.
I will agree with the placement.
Yeah.
Based on R3.
Yeah. Based on the average.
Wait, why are you coming on to...
Wait, is Chloe on? Oh, Chloe, you're on. Okay, adding you on now. Let me put you on the.
Speak of the devil and she shall appear. I'm only here for the bit.
That's valid.
Hi.
That's valid. Here you go, Chloe. Your icon's now on screen. I think. Wait. Are you?
No! Why are you displaying me?
There we go. Hi, Chloe.
Also, isn't it like ass AM in the morning for you?
Yeah.
It's 11 a.m. It's fine. I just
Okay, that's never mind.
All right, then. Secret guest Chloe Sunflora has joined the party. Where's like the Smash Brothers music where you have like the
a new challenger has approached?
Listen, I'm here to restore order to this. Y'all have only ranked like 2 things, and the list is how long?
It's a lot of options. Let's just jump into John Wick then.
Yeah.
John Wick.
I haven't seen John Wick. I'm getting sick of seeing it. I don't care for it. I'm sure it's fine, but it's like it's too much. Calm down, you guys.
Hot take. Either of you two see John Wick?
I've seen a couple of them. I like them, but they probably, I would put it in, should probably slow down.
Valid.
That would be my thing. Yeah, I would put it there. There's too, like, we got spin-offs now. It's getting to the point where it's beginning to, outstay its welcome, and it's being a little oversaturated. So yeah, maybe pull back a little bit on John
Chloe,
Wick.
any thoughts?
I think
the main 4 movies are great. I don't think we need spin-offs like The Continental. Ballerina looks a little bit interesting, but I feel like that should be the end point of anything in regards to this, because the entire point of John Wick was always about this whole like cycle of revenge begetting vengeance, and I feel like if you just leave it at the ending where John Wick 4 was at, perfect, great, absolutely masterful storytelling. Do not give a shit about The Continental, and really, if they do like endless spin-offs like they're doing with Ballerina, fucking kill this.
Yeah, Chloe, you touched on something that's going to come up a lot, I feel like, in this franchise discussion, which.
All right. I know. Krim has been trying. Oh, agree 100%. Krim, you're gonna say something. You say your piece before I say my thoughts on John Wick.
Okay. First of all, I think there's a kind of franchise fatigue where it's like I was gonna watch it, but now there's like 12 movies, and now I don't wanna.
It overwhelms you.
I don't want to get into that shit.
Honestly,
my other thing is that I think you should make my icon more size accurate. Shrank it down.
Okay. It's
Not-
accurate
no.
now.
I can't see
It's
it yet.
accurate.
I haven't seen it updated on
It's
my
accurate
screen.
now. Accurate crim size.
I can't see it because it's not shown up on the thing that you're broadcasting, so I have to wait for the YouTube to catch up.
You're going to make a comment in like 5 minutes from now, probably. I think
No,
that
that's perfect.
that's perfect size. Cool. I'm going to make you
Yeah, that's perfect.
slightly
Like you're
bigger.
eating my hair.
Yeah, I'm going to make you slightly
I'm hot.
bigger.
Gremlin sized.
Gremlin size crim. Accurate accurate to the
Aw,
world.
yay.
More accurate.
So
More.
here's my thoughts. I think John Wick is really good. I think up till parts 1 through 4 have some great action. It's, again, like Chloe said before, a cycle of revenge. It should also be done. We shouldn't have anything else outside those 4 films. It should be a complete story. And the fact that there's rumors of a 5th film, I'm like, no. 4 was perfect as an end spot. Cut it off.
Let series end.
Seriously.
Let stories end.
John Wick should be done.
Mhm.
This should be it. I think it's a great series up until that point. I agree with Krim where it's starting to get a little overwhelming because it's like, okay, let's chill out a bit. Part 4 is a good end. Let's stop there. I'm not even gonna. I don't think I'm gonna even watch Ballerina, but I think the other 4 I watched the moment they came out. So that's my thought process. And the Continental I don't care about at all. That's one with Mel Gibson, right? That kind of killed my interest right there.
Mm. Why is he still getting work?
Because I couldn't even tell you. I could not even
Aw.
tell you. But we think there's a good placement for it. Good series that should end.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That works for me.
That works for you?
When
Okay.
it ends, when they stop making movies for John Wick, I'll watch John Wick.
Valid point. Hopefully the
It feels
ballerina
like
is that point.
You can
It feels like shoveling the driveway when it's still snowing out.
That's like what I do. That was yesterday for me.
like you fool.
Yes, how dare I live in New Jersey where it snows.
I mean, like I live further north than you, and we have the same problems. So.
We do. It's pretty bad. All right, a couple super chats I want to read real quick. I think some are about John Wick, which makes this time convenient. By Chiapiodera, thank you for super chat. They will finish the ranking before my game of Civilization 7. Yeah, valid. Oh, will they? Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe not. And Nick Wolf, first John Wick had Willem Dafoe, downhill since there. Okay, that's fair, but have you considered Lawrence Fishburne is after that? There we go.
It's like a Matrix reunion.
Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne.
It's like when they
I
were
will
in the
definitely
Matrix.
say the best movies of this are a tie between I would say like 3 and 4 personally. That's just me.
I honestly love the first one the most. I think I'm like the most like, yeah, they killed his dog and he decided to kill everyone. I'm with him on that. You know?
I've liked all the. I'm a little behind on the John Wick movies, but I've liked all the ones I've seen. So yeah.
Valid. Okay, this one is the hardest one I think to rank because the range and quality is gigantic. I think this is gonna be
Just Walt
hard.
Disney in general.
I guess
like,
Walt Disney animation. I feel this is unfair to even discuss.
Oh, that's it. Well, yeah, keep going. I like cartoons. More cartoons, please.
Yeah, I mean when it's great, it's great. I think.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
It's like because like Disney
Okay.
animation has like.
If we're going for Disney animation with that one, let's be
No.
real for this one here. They've fallen off hard.
They've
the
fallen
last
off.
few years.
Yeah, I think that's a fair
Like
point.
this has been an
Like, if we were
issue
talking-
for
like,
the
if we were
last few
talking
years, for the
Disney's
last like
television-
decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we were strictly talking about, like, separate divisions, like the television division or anything like that, if we're talking about it as a whole, they've definitely fallen off. Like, only a few good spots here and there cannot really kind of mask the fact that there is some huge problems, and they're not fixing them anytime soon.
And the other problem is that you have to go by eras because like Disney has had eras where they're fantastic, surrounded by eras where they've made like really sloppy, messy films. Like The
You
I would.
guys are not gonna like what I have to say.
Oh, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the Disney Renaissance right now, Krim. You're gonna have to.
I think that making the Disney princess a thing was a mistake, and they never recovered from it.
I would say I don't disagree.
In what way are we talking about? That?
Because okay, so here's the thing: people like act like, oh, the Disney princess, but the thing is that our original three, which was Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and I've had a script about Sleeping Beauty that I have written up that I've not voiced, and then freaking Neuralities comes back with a Sleeping fucking Beauty video.
It's a good video. It was a good video.
Haven't seen it yet. I'm going to finish my Sleeping Beauty video, release it, and then I'll watch it to see if we go over the same things. I don't think we will, but anyway.
It's a really good video. I'll say that.
my point is that those three things weren't really connected in the way that we think of them, and they were like made like over like some of them over a decade apart. But
yeah, no, I'd say 15, 16 years apart. Yeah.
No, it's a really interesting. I agree with you. It's a really interesting history. Like the original Cinderella was made as an attempt to come back to the glory of Snow White, because even though they're classics now, Fantasia didn't do very well. A lot of the stuff in the 40s did really bad. So Cinderella was like, okay, let's just give them another princess. And because that did so well, they just kind of kept doing it. And it's the same with the Disney Renaissance too. Like I am not a fan of the 70s and 80s stuff, but I do agree they were at least like interesting, and they were trying to do like different things. And it is telling that what brought him back is going back to the princess mold. So maybe this is our fault as human beings.
It's because it's the same problem with Harry Potter, in that it's not so much that they're selling movies. It doesn't matter how good the movies are. And the fact is that a lot of people aren't actually familiar with the story of the movies. People make all these complaints about Sleeping Beauty, but like, and this is the main thing that I talk about in my video, Aurora is not the main character of that movie.
No, it's the fairies.
The Three Good Fairies are.
Yeah.
They are the main characters. So when people are like, oh, like she's like the female, so much for female empowerment, she's asleep for most of the movie and has only 1 or 2 scenes where she speaks. It's like, she's not the main character. The main character is 3 older women, but 3 older women are not marketable. They're not who people remember. They're not what Disney is selling you.
Agreed. No, yeah. And I think it's...
So, like...
And I'll say this, too, I think, too. I think that the Disney Renaissance succeeded in ways that were fantastic. Each film, with the exception of Pocahontas, I think, really did a good job telling a good narrative. The problem is the Disney marketing machine with those films. Like, as films, each of those films did really, really, really well. But I think that, with the exception of Pocahontas, but I think that the Disney marketing either undercut the marketing for these films if they weren't super mainstream, like Hunchback, or even Tarzan. Well, yeah, exactly. Or even Tarzan. Or
I hate that.
They were so they were so successful as a marketing machine, they became the market. Like Beauty and the Beast. One of my videos on Disney, I focus on how Disney like kind of screwed Beauty and the Beast as a film, because it starts as this narrative that's really compelling on its own, and then they flanderized all the characters to make them super marketable, and it ruined the narrative of the original movie by association. And there, I'm sorry. Yep. Sorry, get you off there.
And there's also the other thing where it's like, the thing is that Disney sees something in a story or in people, and then instead of letting them do what makes them successful, they squeeze them until they're dry. And I think that Howard Ashford and Alan Menken, great. Sorry, I get their names mixed up.
It's all good.
Bad at names. Anyway, the point is that Disney executives went in, saw a production of Little Shop of Horrors, and were like, I love that. I want these guys working for us, and then never let them use that creative energy in the way that made Little Shop so freaking cool.
And the thing is, people don't realize this, but with Howard Ashman, he was almost fired making The Little Mermaid for making the film.
That's the real end of the Renaissance, is that Howard Ashman died, unfortunately.
Like, and they've been
he was the one
trying
that made
to
all these movies good. Yeah.
They've been trying to capture the lightning in the bottle that was that man, and they can't.
Yeah.
They're never going to be able to, because he was speaking from like a genuine place of like pain, but also hope and like yearning, that like you can't reproduce that kind of struggle, I think. And you bring in, I'm sorry, I do not like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think he's a hack. I think his music is bad.
Thank
I
you.
know
Oh my God, he's
adore
awful.
him.
No, he's
But
terrible. I hate him so
I've been
much.
saying this for years. It sounds like he like makes up a tune, makes up a lyric, and smashes them together. And if they don't fit, he forces them to fit. Like,
Absolutely,
it doesn't
yes.
sound good. I hate it. And it all sounds the same to me. Like, all of his music sounds the same. I hate the cadence of every piece of music that he's ever written. I just don't like it.
I don't hate him as much as some people do, but I'm also not a fan. Like, I think he's all right, but I don't have a strong opinion. I don't understand how like Hamilton and all that like really became as big as it did. Like, I get because it was different at the time, but like I feel like its staying power surprises me. Like,
You want something
staying
different
power.
at the time, just go actually watch theater.
Well, that's
like-
the thing. It's like,
If you go watch local theater, you'll find something 100 times more interesting than Hamilton.
well, it's that balance between like different but also like marketable, I think, ultimately. And I think is what Disney ultimately has been depending on. The different enough but marketable enough. And
Yeah.
I think the other problem is we've been dodging the real biggest flaw with Disney is that they keep pumping out their successes to make more movies. And if you talk about Disney animation, you got to talk about the Disney live action adaptations of the animation, which I think just further brings
Oh, yeah,
down
those
the
should stop.
metric.
Those are the worst movies ever made, so
Yeah.
those should stop.
Stop.
I think the
immediately.
only
Yeah.
good one is Cinderella, because it's an adaptation of a fairy
It's
tale that
not-
already exists.
I just saw it recently with one of my clients, and it is
Better.
it is higher tier. I mean, I would also say that the Jungle Book was pretty good,
I'd say that too. Yeah, that one's solid.
and I thought Pete's Dragon was above average. It wasn't terrible, but I just want to step in because like I agree on paper with everything that's being said, even though Disney animation is like 70% of my personality. So it's also difficult for me sometimes to separate that, but I think Disney animation has been around for so long, and I think right now it's kind of taking a back seat to everything else Disney is doing, like Star Wars and MCU and all this stuff. And I would love to see them like come back and do like cool stuff again. Like I don't think, like for instance, like I don't think Disney animation has had a good song since like the Renaissance.
Tangled.
You can decide like
Tangled.
which one you like.
Tangled has the
like-
best. I think Tangled has had the best music.
No.
since-
I don't like. I mean, everything after like Hercules or whatever, like around there.
Hercules?
The music's been
Really? That far back?
exciting.
The bold I'm sorry, but I will never stop saying that mixing like Southern gospel music with Greek like mythology, fucking brilliant.
It's a great
Like, what a-
choice. It's
no,
so
like,
out
good
there. It's
choice.
fantastic.
No, and like it's good, even though like the movie itself is like okay, it's not the best,
Yeah.
but like the
The
music is
amazing.
and no, and like I don't think
aesthetically,
I like Hercules. I am a defender of that film, so I'll give it. I won't agree with you on that one. I think for me, Tangled is my cutoff. Where like after Tangled, it started to go down, but because you got to keep in mind before Tangled, you got Princess and the Frog. I think that's a pretty solid film.
I am not I don't think it's very good. I think
Treasure
it's
Planet?
a very weak film.
What Treasure Planet?
sucks. Treasure Planet's a terrible movie.
What?
Okay,
Oh God!
fighting you.
I am fighting you in the
Treasure
Denny's.
Planet, Treasure
Atlantis
Planet
is fine. I like Atlantis. Atlantis is
Treasure
fine.
Planet trans my gender. You don't get it.
Yeah.
I
Chloe,
can
any
see
thoughts?
that,
I feel like
really.
we've been.
I hate that. Fuck sorry, I didn't mean to swear on the show.
No,
but the
fucking swear.
the fucking
There we go.
solar surfing.
I love
makes me
that.
so
I love
angry.
it.
I hate that.
I love it so
much.
I
much.
love being a boy so much.
I don't know. I mean, it is. If I'm allowed to say, it is a very trans mask movie. I will say
It
that.
is. Oh, it absolutely
for sure,
is.
which is maybe why I didn't appreciate it as much.
It's okay. I forgive you. You know, like there are some like just personality flaws that sometimes can't overcome.
Chloe, any thoughts on
you
this?
know what? Here's the thing, Madeline, is that
Oh
like
boy.
I am right fucking there with you and like being kind of a Disney defender in my heart. Like I don't know if you know this about me, but I went to school for animation and all of my teachers worked for Disney at one point. A bunch of them went to Cal Arts. Working on a Disney movie was my dream at one point. Kingdom Hearts is like one of my favorite video game franchises of all times.
Ooh, is that one on there? Because I have thoughts about
Just
Kingdom
films.
Hearts.
Chloe,
No,
you
don't
wait,
start.
Chloe, you've never played
The
Kingdom
first one
Hearts,
is
right?
good. I like the first Kingdom Hearts, and we can end it there. We're
It's
still
actually,
friends. End it there and we're still friends.
it's actually.
Um,
Yeah, no.
Chloe, you've never
Let's
played
not.
Kingdom Hearts before, right? Like never before.
I have played Kingdom Hearts. Now that I can get a word in edgewise,
Yes.
I have played Kingdom Hearts, and I will definitely say this. In my heart of hearts, I will always be like, yeah, I love Disney because I still have that sort of childhood wonder in my heart in that sort of sense. But also in my brain, I'm just like, they haven't put out anything worth a salt since Encanto, and that was nearly 4 years
Oh
ago.
yeah, Encanto. That was a good one too. I forgot. Okay, that's fair. I like Encanto.
Disagree.
No, yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't like Encanto.
What? It's, I mean, here's the thing.
I get it. I'm not
It looks
gonna,
pretty.
I'm not.
It's
it
very
has-
pretty.
I like the character designs, and I think they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting in Encanto. Because I think the story and what's actually happening is not only like not good, but it's kind of a bad message, honestly.
I don't know if I agree with that.
That's a whole.
I'm
I'm gonna make a compromise to probably a very cold take. I think Disney animation should continue, but they should go back to 2D animation.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Agreed.
they should go
100%.
back. That's what I want.
Absolutely.
I just want more 2D cartoons. I love 2D animation.
Do you think you should?
The downfall of Disney began with Chicken Little, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I agree
Did you
with
know
that.
that
That
Chicken
was a
Little
dark
was
era.
originally going to be a female character, like with a little
Yes,
bow?
and I'm
he was
mad
gonna-
we never got that movie because that would have actually had like so much. The deleted season of that movie pissed me off because we
Can
could
I-
have gotten.
Actually, you know what was worse
Can
than
I-
Chicken
can
Little?
I-
Home on the Range.
Can I give? Actually,
That's
I like
very
Home
bad.
on the
I
Range.
saw
I
it in
don't like it.
theaters. Both
But
of those movies.
Can
in
I?
theaters.
Can I say something? And like, if I'm off, trans girls in the chat and right here on the call, you can kill me.
Aw.
Female
Sharpen your knives.
version of Chicken Little gave me trans girl vibes.
Yes,
Am I wrong?
you are not wrong. I
Like,
got
I
that
looked
vibe
at that
from
character. It's
Thunder.
like that is a young transgender girl right there. You can't tell me. that
I
she
gotta
isn't.
see this thing. I mean, I didn't hate that little guy, so I'm gonna look into that.
Oh, she's so much
it's-
more. She's
It
so
wouldn't be
much
the
more.
weirdest thing to trans my gender for sure. It definitely
But
would
like
not.
she also was just like a different character. She was like very scared of everything. But like she was really trying. She was
This
really
is my
trying.
first
to
time
be
hearing that
brave.
there was a girl version of Chicken Little, so I gotta look
Yeah,
into
I
that.
didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
Interesting.
That's a good point. I didn't realize it was
It's
in production.
very cute. The relationship with the dad so much better. Like it's just such a better pitch. It's a better movie.
Well, they
And
ju-
I'm sad that we didn't get that version.
Well, that's
'Cause
kind
it
of the
would've been
problem with Disney.
adorable.
Well, that's kind of the problem with Disney in general. They change a lot of these ideas because of like arbitrary marketing reasons. I mean,
Well,
a
they
movie
were
that
trying to copy. They're trying to copy Shrek, really.
yeah, which is
is why
which
Chicken
is-
Little is the way it is.
which funny too. I
I
keep
think
thinking this too.
even when Disney is in its bad phases, it still inadvertently leads to amazing movies. Like because Disney was so bad, we got Don Bluth's run in the 80s.
That's true.
So,
Love
you
Don
know,
Bluth.
and
So, you
without
know,
and
even,
without
even when they're bad, something good happens with animation.
no, I hear you there. And I think the other thing too
Or even
is
like
that,
the 70s when they were bad too. That you got the God, what's his name? The underground artist.
Ralph Bakshi? Ralph Bakshi.
Bakshi.
Yeah.
Bakshi,
Bakshi.
I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned
Ralph
the Great
Bakshi
Mouse
kinda stuff,
Detective,
yeah.
considering all the people in this chat.
I think people consider that the
I love
start
that one.
unofficially
Yeah, it's so
started
great.
the Renaissance. Yeah.
Well, I was just
I
gonna
like
say,
it.
I think A Great Mouse Detective is like one of the gayest Disney films made before Howard Ashman joined the company. With
I mean, like it was Sherlock Holmes. So,
yeah,
like,
with Vincent Price in it. So, well, not as
I
like
don't know, Fox and
Radigan.
the Hound is pretty gay. That's all I'm gonna say.
That one also had Tim Burton too, so that was another example of a. But that's a whole discussion there. Tim Burton, he'll come up, I'm sure, later at some point. So we're gonna. So I want to read a few super chats. Then we're gonna put Disney on here, and we'll move on to another one because I feel like if we don't stop now, we're gonna talk about Disney for the entire night, and there's like so many.
I do love Disney. Yeah.
I do love Disney too. Well,
Even though as a company they're terrible and they should be destroyed as a corporation.
yeah.
But I do like those. I do like the princesses. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Disney, the company, I have a lot of issues with. Disney,
like
the
them.
artistry, I have a lot of. Like the thing is,
And that's not just because I know if I believe in magic hard enough, I will become a Disney princess.
There we
That's
go.
gonna happen. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But they should be destroyed as a corporation. Yes, absolutely.
I think we all agree that Disney as a company is a horrible institution, but Disney has the artists working through Disney have produced some great art. I think is a good way of putting it, because the artists are not the company. Like yeah, Alex Hirsch will make fun of Disney all he wants, and he's not Disney, but he works with Disney. So, anyways, a few super chats I want to read real quick, then we're gonna move on. Nick Wolf, thank you for super chat. Wick 3 and 4 needed Carrie Ann Moss for the hat trick. That would have been great if we had all the Matrix there. User225, your streams are my comfort content these days. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad this is helping you out. I love that. I love the way people make people happy. No matter what happens, I'm always glad of that.
I'm determined to make you all uncomfortable while I'm here.
Don't worry, Harry Potter is coming up next. Nick Wolf, thank you for super chat. Chicken Little, the one trans character in Kingdom Hearts 2. I would say there's more than one.
No.
There's a lot more, but that's
more.
a topic for another day.
And Baichiepi Odera, thank you for super chat. The
in-canon transness is not great in Kingdom. If we're thinking about the same thing about this franchise, I guess everybody does have a guy inside them, unfortunately, in that franchise. Anyway,
I love how you said that. I love how you said that in that particular sequence of words. Baichiepi Odera has 2 quick super chats. The downfall of animated Disney is when every movie looks like a Pixar movie. I mean, mostly everything now looks like Pixar, and Disney can live as long as Ladybug lasts. Valid on both fronts. So we're gonna put.
Is that Miraculous Ladybug you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's a fetish show and a half.
Oh my god.
That stuff's so gross. I can't watch it.
Oh my god.
I've been following Miraculous Ladybug since pre-production, and I had such high hopes for it. And like, I'm trucking through. I wish that because I hate the English version. The English cast sucks. I watch it in French, but like they don't do the closed captioning in French, and I'm hard of hearing, so I'll be watching the French version, reading the subtitles, and I'm like, that's not that they're not saying that, and so it's become unwatchable for me because I need subtitles to watch something like that. It's very frustrating.
I don't have a strong
I
opinion.
I had to watch an episode for a podcast I was on. My number one thought was this is a lot of questionable camera angles for these I think children. What is happening in the show?
I mean, it's not totally Spies, so right there we're already
that one Totally Spies made me trans. That's actually true. Yes.
They don't come across as young in the French version, I will say. I'm not exactly sure how old they're supposed to be, but when I was watching it in French, I got the impression that they were older teenagers. I caught an episode in English and I'm like, wait a minute, how old are they supposed to be? Are they 12? Because I originally thought that they were 16, 17, 15 at the youngest, but yeah.
So y'all, where are we gonna put Disney? We'll start with Chloe, since she thinks that she got the least amount of to say edgewise in this conversation.
They fell off.
Yeah. They fell off is a good place.
No, I disagree with. I think it lowest the orange.
So, which one?
I think it should be grand, a great series that keeps to live. Yellow is not whatever we said fell off. No, I don't think so. I think
It's series
should
that should
be...
end/slow down or like change in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll barely accept that. I would have put it as red myself, but I think one girl.
I think I'll say I'll wait for Netflix. I think I'll wait for Netflix for Disney to show up, which won't happen, because that's like the middle ground between everything we're saying.
I do not back that. That is not what Anna's doing is not representative of what I would do. I want that in.
That's fact.
Okay, let's just get this next one out. Let's just get this next one out of the way. Why are they making these?
Burn it with fire. Burn it with fire.
I think
wow,
Harry.
You are very kind, Chloe.
Yeah, right.
Listen. I will say this right now. The 7-film trilogy that came out when I was growing up.
The 7-film trilogy.
Perfectly God.
I'm kidding.
The 7-film series. God fucking damn it. I cannot word today.
I know. I hear you. It's all good.
Point here I'm making is that those films, perfectly serviceable books, take it or leave it at this point. But I feel like that's all you need. Everything else that has been coming out since those movies came out, completely fucking unnecessary. Why the fuck is this even still happening aside from trying to give the Turf Wizard book lady more money?
I think the
Fantastic Beasts movies are some of the worst films ever made. I need everyone to understand in the chat and here that is a fact.
They are incoherently made. I will not
terrible movies.
Not even just like the ethical element of it. It's just badly made. Like it's just a poorly done story.
I made a video essay on the first Fantastic Beasts movie on the Madeline May YouTube channel.
Nice plug.
I have gone back to like I had a rough childhood, and I was like, when's my Hogwarts letter coming? Like every other millennial my age with a rough childhood. But like I've read it as an adult, and like you get to like the 3rd or 4th book, and it's like Harry Potter does not sound like a nice person. He doesn't even sound like a 13, 14-year-old boy. He sounds like a bitter old white woman.
Funny how that works out,
because Rowling, that's what Rowling is, and she has been for a long time. And like the neoliberalism of it all just kind of punches me in the face. And I knew we were going to get to that again, but she's very like, like you shouldn't abuse house elves, but that's the way it is. So like we can't make any big systemic changes. Like
I do also want to say something. The fact that this is my first thing that I ever saw David Tennant in, because this is before he started the Doctor in Doctor Who.
That's why he was cast as Doctor Who, actually.
Yeah.
It was his performance in Harry Potter.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. It at least deserves it deserves some level of praise for the cultural significance that it got for its actors, and nothing more than that.
I think Alan Rickman having a renaissance as an actor was a
I just want to say that, like, even talking about Harry Potter makes me feel ill and sick. I'm kind of just done with this conversation. Personally, I just hate talking about Harry Potter. I'm sorry.
I mean, like, just to kind of put the crown on this shitty little shithead. Last month in December, J.K. Rowling compared trans healthcare to getting a lobotomy. So fuck her.
Yeah, I think I feel fine putting it and burn it with fire. Let's read a few super chats real quick as we watch the flames consume the word there. Bachiapi Odera is defending Miraculous Ladybug real quick. They are a year younger than Sailor Moon, but act like they're in college. For Miraculous, and Christina V is Sailor Mars, but the French cast is best cast. Oh yeah, I forgot Christina V was in the dub for that. That's okay. That's neat. I like her as Sailor Mars.
I like Sailor Mars
Sailor Mars is great.
My favorite Sailor Scout, Sailor Mars. Yeah.
Well, my favorite Sailor Guardian is Sailor Uranus. I think I can just relate in general to that. Angels aren't in gaming. Harry Potter feels like a betrayal. I was fixated on that as a teen, and it helped me leave my church because of bullying, only to find out J.K. was no different. Yeah, that's the emotion. That's the common millennial experience. Like, reading it as a teenager or a young kid, loving it, coming back to it as an adult and seeing all the elements you overlooked or missed, and you kind of go, why did I like this in the first place? Like, it really...
Because it's marketable. She's good at making...
I think
she's good at making like symbols, like the snitch, the scar tattoo, the glasses, the like. She's good
Definitely
at making
aloes.
things that you can sell.
Yeah, but I think like also
Then she's not good at linking those things together though.
But
I think.
But I think one thing too is that with all of these so far, in my opinion, that we've done so far, Godfather, John Wick, Marvel, Disney, there are entries in these series where if I go back to them today, I still love them just as much as I did last year, the year before that. With Harry Potter, it's diminishing returns each time you look back on it. Like, I like it less somehow each time I come back to it. Whereas with John Wick, I go back to those films, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I love this. This is fantastic. With Marvel, the best Marvel stuff, I'm like, this is fantastic. I love this. Even with Disney, we were crapping on it before, but if you put on like Aladdin or Being the Beast, or like I'm plugged in.
I cry every time I watch Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, 100%.
This is true.
It gets you. Even if you recognize problems with it, the good parts draw you back in. Harry Potter, the good stuff looks worse and less appealing because the bad stuff is so apparent. And I think that's a big issue. Like, it sucks. It's just disappointing. I don't know.
I want to say, just as a quick little personal thing, I live in Burbank, California, and I have a pass to Universal Studios because I live 5 minutes from there. And every time I go, I still to this day see all of these adults wearing the Harry Potter outfits and getting really excited, and I just feel ill every single time I see it. It's just like nobody cares. It really does make me, as as a trans woman, feel awful. It really does. Yeah. It's just it's just so blatant. And
yeah.
Let's
I don't understand
that franchise out for me. Yeah.
Let's just move past this one because I feel like we all are on the same page. Unless you have something else to say that's really painful.
I mean, did you have something to say, Chloe? Because I wanted to mention something slightly unrelated, but
I said all I feel like I needed or wanted to say. It deserves its placement.
Yeah.
This isn't about Harry Potter, but I think I think that this relates to a lot of franchise fatigue and how we talk about different franchises and how they kind of work on especially in critic and analysis spaces is the big Doyleist versus Watsonian analysis question. And I think people are so concerned with how different things link up, and it's like, oh, how do I explain this, and how does this actually work, and why does this work with this, and how Pixar theory. And I think people are so fixated on that way of consuming franchises that it's who cares? Obviously it's fine to overanalyze things, but I feel like people miss the forest for the trees. And to make maybe a little bit of an obscure analysis or a reference to one of my favorite online indie franchises that kind of got Watsonianed to death, Petscop. Does it matter how the door was opened, or does it matter that the door was opened so that somebody could go through it? What does this metaphor mean? And less well, how did this physically happen, and who was there? What was the timeline? What were the physics? Who fucking cares? Why did it happen? Why is Superman strong? Who cares who cares about the physics of how the sun makes him strong? Why is that part of the story?
Yeah.
Can you define what the two terms mean for people dumb like me?
Oh, yeah.
So Doyleist versus Watsonian is a reference to, of course, Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And Watsonian analysis is analyzing a piece of media as if you were in that world. So again, how does Superman get his powers from the sun to be super strong? And then coming up with all these scientific theories, very MatPat game theory, that kind of thing.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Whereas a Doyleist, it's well, Superman is strong because he represents this, and he represents what it's like to be an immigrant, and a type of masculinity, and people fearing the unknown. Like, and it's more concerned with what a story is saying and who someone is than like what they are and the reality of the story.
I
No,
feel like
absolutely.
my
And I think that is a big, I think that's a big problem with a lot of modern analysis on the internet, is that it does kind of focus on, I guess what Dan Alston called the Thermian argument, where it's like just looking entirely within the universe for the answers, when in reality, that's never the case. Like, art is a product of the place that it's made. It's a product and interpreted by how it's exhibited. I mean, I'm a very firm believer in things like paratext and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people think that they're doing just like blank observations of a piece of media entirely from the perspective of the piece of media. But I think most people don't realize that they aren't. They are kind of incorporating a lot of outside things into some media without even realizing it. And I think we need to all get better at kind of understanding. Not that there's anything wrong with like being good or bad at whatever. It's just like we just kind of need to understand what we're all talking about.
Agreed.
When Matt Patrick said, I don't watch movies to watch them anymore, I watch them to solve them anymore. That broke my freaking heart.
That's depressing.
Movies are math problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Insane, yeah.
Like movies in general, like I find my channel analyzes things more from a Doyleist perspective in general.
Absolutely,
I think you and I are the same way in this. We're more. I think all of us really. We're more interested in seeing what a film means to the audience in terms of like the emotional impact or the allegorical impact or the applicable impact or what this message says about like the human condition in some way. Then like I feel like we get too hung up
more
on.
Interesting.
100%. So let's move on. There's a couple more comments I do want to read real quick.
But I was my whole point was I think this is leaking back into how movies are being made.
Yes,
it's not just an analysis thing. It's kind of like flowing back into the the way that movies are made right now.
Well, not to go back to Disney again, but that was one of the things with all the changes in the Beauty and the Beast film. It was just to explain quote unquote plot holes that listicles would list. And as someone who used to write listicles, I'm probably to blame for some of that. So Nick Wolf, thanks super chat. As a personal kayfabe, whenever I hear talk of this franchise, I pretend something else is being mentioned, like Percy Jackson or My Immortal. Good idea. And Baichi Apiodera, thank you again, super chat. Christina V makes jokes. Her two most popular characters are red-colored outfit magical girls, that Marionette and Sailor Mars. And I will defend Miraculous to the death because it came out when I was in a dark place and pulled me from it. And that's a vital thing. I think that if you are talking about media that means a lot to you from a dark place, or you came in from a dark place with it, I think that's vital. And I think that really helps with like just the human condition. Speaking of dark places, though, Spider-Man. And this is we're gonna have all Spider.
Is this just Spider-Man? Yeah.
And this is I'm gonna count this as all different Spider-Man shows. I know it's movies. I know it's the Sam Raimi trilogy specifically, but this is gonna encompass the Amazing series as well as the MCU Spider-Man stuff.
And like even like the Into the Spider-Verse and
Into the Spider-Verse as well is counted in here. But I'm gonna
like
draw a line in the sand and not say. I'm going to draw a line in the sand and say this does not count the Spew universe, the Sony associated with Marvel stuff, because, like, that's just so disconnected. It's
that stuff rocks. No, you should put that in. That makes it better.
Venom. I'll allow Venom, but I'm not going to put Madam Web on here or Morbius. Because if we put Morbius on here, it's going to get, like, the top level of the account.
Yeah, it will get lol. I need more. Okay.
Yeah, Morbius gets lol. We need more Morbius.
I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I'm always down for more Spider-Man. Spider-Man
100%.
is my favorite superhero, period. I think Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is the best comic book movie ever made, and I stand by that. Yeah. So I'm always down for more Spider-Man.
I just wish it would, like, I'm just getting tired of the origin story.
Well, he's in college now, finally in the MCU, so that's one upside.
Good for him.
He's finally grown up.
Even like the new, there's a new Spider-Man cartoon show, and it's
from the new Spider-Man.
The fucking the origin, like most like that's not what makes Peter Parker an interesting character, in my opinion.
I want him in college. I want him in college. I want him on the street level. I want to see him make fun of Kingpin. I want to see him like mess around with Shocker. Chloe, what are your thoughts on? Because I feel like
I-
we've
I
talked.
think we
say
can all
it's a
agree
great
Spider-
series that keeps on delivering.
Yeah,
in my
right?
honest opinion, because yeah, the Raimi trilogy, absolutely brilliant.
Mhm.
Even if Spider-Man 3 had like a few dips in qualities at certain points.
I'm a bit of a 3 defender. I think there's a lot of good in 3, honestly.
Yeah,
Ye-
I was gonna say, upon reevaluation, 3 absolutely fucks, and not even just for the meme value nowadays.
Controversial
Can I-
take. I don't think there's been a single bad
I don't know
Spider-Man
if
movie.
Fox,
Can
but
I
do
make
think
it-
it's-
I will
yeah.
Can I make-
disagree on that. Amazing
Can I-
2 is kind of the low point.
That's the weakest, but I don't think
Can
it's
I?
bad. Okay.
Can I?
Yes.
Can I make an even more controversial opinion?
Yes.
I did not like Andrew Garfield's run as Spider-Man.
What? Oh, I like
think
Andrew Garfield
That's
as
not very
Spider-Man.
controversial. I think most people would agree with
I
that.
think-
Yeah, I'm
So
the
I-
weirdo who
I-
defends
I
it.
don't think it was. I don't think it was him. I think that he could have made a great Peter Parker. I just don't think the writing was good. And I also despise that it started the trend of making his aunt younger and younger.
Yeah, I'll grant you that. I think the Amazing Duology is the weak link of the stuff so far. I think the MCU Spider-Man, for as many people who like criticize it, I think is really solid. I think
I
it's
like
the
that
best high
he's
school.
not. I think I like that he's no longer Tony Stark's little bitch. I hated that era.
Yeah, but I even liked.
No, fuck off.
I will say this: I liked Homecoming quite a lot. I think Homecoming has one of the best scenes in any of the Spider-Man movies, and it's a scene where he's at a costume and he's just going with his date and the dad's driving him, and the dad's Michael Keaton, and it's one of the most high tension moments in this whole franchise, and it's just a couple of people sitting in a car talking, and it's one of the best scenes period in this entire
Michael
Spider-Man
Keaton.
saga.
Yeah, he's great.
Honestly, I'm kind of curious as to where they're gonna go with Tom Holland at this point now.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the only MCU movies I'm actively looking forward to seeing
yeah.
when that trailer drops.
Mm-hmm. I think whenever
It
Spider-Man
feels
shows
like-
up, I'm in.
It feels like it's like, well, he's a nobody in New York living on his own with no resources. That's how Spider-Man should be. That's
Mhm.
what Peter Parker is. And I think that it's back to form.
Agreed.
That's
So-
what I related to Spider-Man. It's like this awkward, nerdy guy that gets these powers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, in a lot of ways, it kind of is a trans story in a lot of ways. But like for me, yeah, like I really related to Spider-Man in a way that I didn't for other superheroes. So
Yeah.
I'm super into more.
And that's not even touching upon Spider-Verse. Like that right there, I think
Mm-hmm.
I honestly am debating moving it up to this slot to the More Movie Now Please, just because
I'm
of
gonna
Spider-Verse.
say no to that choice because there's also a lot, and I'm an old woman that doesn't have time to watch every new Spider-Man cartoon. So it feels like there's a new one every year. So slow down a little bit.
Well, not the cartoon. I'm talking about Spider-Verse specifically. Like
Spider-Verse. Well, Spider-Verse, if it ever comes out,
valid.
if it ever finishes, it'll be good.
Yeah. That I can't wait for. I think I'm always down for Spider-Man. Like, I think of all the topics of my channel, I've talked about Spider-Man in some capacity more than anyone else. I really think that's the topic I've talked about the most to some degree. Because I just
I'm
adore
also,
him.
but at the same time, I am also worried of the fatigue because if I start getting fatigued for my favorite superhero, I'm going to be so miserable, and everyone's going to have to deal with that. And that's more on you all. I don't want you to feel bad because I'm going to make life miserable for everyone. So there you go.
Spider-Man is the character that got me into comic books.
Same, 100%.
Is there a just
When I
right
was
like
young.
place for these movies? Like it's wherever it is, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
doing good for what it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
wait for Netflix maybe because because I will show up at theaters. To
yeah.
watch
That's the thing. From a distance, you're like, yeah, I can wait. But when they drop that trailer, you're gonna buy tickets ahead of
Yeah.
time. Like for any of them, like
Yeah.
don't lie. You're gonna be like immediately opening weekend seeing.
Does a bad entry make a bad franchise though?
I don't think so.
You know?
I think it's the
I
consistency.
want it to keep
We're
going, but
talking-
there are
Let's
misses.
just go-
You know.
Yeah.
I think like even I will okay. I think we're just spinning the wheel at this point. I think we all agreed Spider-Man's pretty solid. There's like 90 fucking shows and movies we're talking about here.
Yeah.
This is one that I think is an odd one to include, but the more I think about it, it makes sense. Night at the Museum.
Okay.
Do you guys know that there is, not to go too far out there, but did you guys know that there is a Night at the Creationist museum that was like made by Answers in Genesis?
Yes,
Sorry,
I did know about
familiar.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry to be a stinky little atheist, but like that movie was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing, and
it's terrible.
Okay,
Put it
look,
the
like
best way.
I have two questions for this. I have two things to say about this, and I won't say anything else about this one. One, is there a good Night at the Museum movie?
I like the first
point
one.
Two is that
Just the
two
first
is
one.
that if they do continue it, I want them in like really weird places. You know, like night at the DMV, or like night at the I don't know, some weird body like night at Madame, you know, at the museum
Yeah.
of night at the
I think
museum
it
of
should
tolerance,
be-
if we want to get a little edgy, you know, edgelord with it, that'd be a good
Yeah.
one.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
it.
important
That's all
that
I
it's a
got.
museum, but like weird museums would be fun.
Yeah, like I liked how they did the Smithsonian that one, and they like brought in like Darth Vader and like the what was it, the Oscar the Grouch, you know, like just random stuff. Chloe, do you have any attachment to this franchise, the Night at the Museum franchise?
I mean, the films are nice, dumb fun. In all honesty, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I
think
do
I've
also
watched-
kind of like I do kind of also like. I have some kind of attachment to the latter films because they're some of the last films that Robin Williams made before he passed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the last scene with Robin Williams in the third one is better than the entire film because it's just so emotional, and it's like it does have like that kind of like I remember like for a while on TikTok when I was still on there, they'd have like that dialogue be like a reoccurring soundbite because it is such a good soundbite. But can I justify the placement of a movie franchise in this list on how good one exchange of dialogue is, and the strength of it
I
has
think-
more to do with the real life context in the film itself?
But I think that you gotta. Do you want more?
That's the
No.
thing. I don't think I do. I have no. If they honestly, and I know they've made more too, which is crazy. Like they've made an animated thing on Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure a while back.
Hey, what?
Oh yeah, there's more Night at the Museum than just the
didn't
three
know
movies.
All right.
Yeah, Disney has already done
Whatever.
it. Like not even like that goes to show you how good it was. If you've never heard of it.
I've never heard of this. I mean, they're not good movies. They're like whatever. I think I saw the first two in theaters, maybe. Whatever.
I think I saw the first 3, but they all just slid off my brain.
Yeah, I think the only one that stands out is the first one, and that's mainly because of Robin Williams and Dick Van Dyke. Like that's really all that stands out in my brain. That
Oh, and Mickey Rooney was great.
And Mickey Rooney,
in
yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
That's fair. And I think all the actors they got in the role were okay. Owen Wilson, I could do without in that movie. I don't feel strongly about him.
Hey now. Hey
Like-
now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now.
Hey,
Hey, now.
So what's the next one? What's
Wow.
the next franchise?
Okay, so this is actually
Wow.
this is a little weird because they divided this into two separate categories, but they have The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings here. But I feel like we should just talk about both of them at once because they're so similar.
Stop.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
they don't know how to do. Like the people running it are very bad at
Hmm.
making them. So let's
Here's-
stop it.
Yeah.
Here's my big stinky opinion.
Yeah.
None of the Lord of the Rings adaptations were good adaptations of Lord of the Rings. You can't really adapt Lord of the Rings to the film.
We
It hasn't
we
been
are
done well.
How can you say something so controversial and
Also-
yet so brave?
Also, Peter Jackson, fucking fuck you and what you've done to how books are adapted. I fucking hate you.
That is a take.
Well, okay. Well, I to play well, not devil's advocate, just correct advocate. The Lord of the Rings movies are some of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna disagree very
mean,
strongly with it.
I loved the movies. I loved the movies, and then I read the books.
But they're so different. Like, here's the question: Do we
just make your Peter Jackson? Just make your own goddamn fucking series. Why did you call it Lord of the Rings? What are you doing? Get out of here!
I mean,
shooting you with a paint gun.
But like, here's
Minecraft.
the question: do we judge the movie based on how much of the books they left out, or the tone of the? Because the book tone is hard to adapt to a film. Like, you really,
the books
on paper, it's tough.
Yeah.
Because they're such more relaxed. They don't fit the typical film structure. I imagine a faithful adaptation of the Lord of the Rings books as films would be very. And I love the books. I'm saying this as a fan of the books. I think the books are incredible. I have a hard time imagining how they would adapt it properly, because it is so much slower paced. It is so much more focused on comfort alongside the horror of war. And while I think the books are masterpieces of literature, it is a great example of how literature is sometimes hard to adapt, but even if you change things, it's still really great and cinematic. And I think the divide between Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, and the Hobbit trilogy, I think that shows how great The Lightning in the Bottle was for those first films, because it was the perfect mix of practical and digital effects. It was a great aspect of the artistry of film. And then The Hobbit was assembled with, like, at the last minute, and it screwed up the entire country of New Zealand. Its entire economy tanked as a result of these movies.
Like, you know what? Retroactively fuck the Hobbit movies for doing that.
Yeah. Let's put the Hobbit on they fell off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Lord of the Rings is amazing, but
I think that it's also like what it has done to, and like I mentioned this in my last video, where like what the Lord of the Rings has done to like the adaptation scene and like the big Hollywood adaptation and how it's treated and what we do with it. It's not good.
No.
I think that if it was just like, oh, this is just somebody's project and it's an entry into the works related to the Lord of the Rings, but it is now like the definitive experience of the Lord of the Rings. And I think when an adaptation that is so far off of what the original was becomes the definitive version of that thing, I've got a problem with it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, but that's a more complicated discussion of whether or not an adaptation. And I think this is going to be a discussion we have to have another day, because that's a whole can of worms we can go on for hours about the value of adaptation. I think as film franchises, The Lord of the Rings works as a contained, masterful trilogy, the same way The Godfather really works. And I don't need more. Outside of, like, a weird gag, like, I don't know. Like, a part of me wants to see, like, Gollum have, like, a day out on the town just for laughs. But, like, not... But the films are just so perfect as films. Adaptation-wise, it's complicated, because Lord of the Rings is such a masterful work of fantasy. And it's inspired everything. Modern fantasy would not exist without Lord of the Rings. I do want to read some Super Chats real quick before we go back to Lord of the Rings for a second, just to get people to... Because people are putting a lot in, and we haven't mentioned them at all. Steph the Scientist, thank you for Super Chat. I feel like there's a place for Watsonian analysis, but that should point you to a better understanding of Doyleist ideas. I agree with that.
What would that? I'm curious what that would mean. Like, what does that process look like?
Watsonian analysis, like analyzing the text, like theorizing.
Using Watsonian analysis to go into the Doyleist.
An example I would say would be kind of going through how the plot function, how the world functions, in relation to supporting Doyleist interpretation of the text. So explaining, here's how the plot in universe functions, and here's how that informs your outside of the text opinions of the work. So an example of that would be analyzing how, let's say in Lord of the Rings, how some people argue the work can be read as a story about war and trauma in war. And you go, well, here's how they present battles. Okay. Here's how they present the trauma and pain. Here's how the characters move on from that. And then you use that analysis to support your argument about the Doylistic interpretation of the text, which is what a lot of people in the video essay world do. That's what I do with my videos. At least I try to. So I agree with that sentiment. And you do it too.
I guess I guess for me, like, I see what you're saying, but for me, arguments like that, I'm not a huge fan of them just because they're not really arguable. Like, they're not. It's not a statement that can be proven true or false. So it's like an interesting way of looking at it. But as far as the discussion goes, it's like you're trying to prove or disprove something that can't be proven or disproven. So I don't know. For me, it's not as interesting a conversation as being. Yeah.
Go for it.
Can I?
Go for it.
Kind of jumping off of that. What's the point in talking about it if there is a right and wrong definitively? What's the point of talking about it? Like, if there's a right and a wrong and this is it and that's the way it is, okay, I am no longer interested in your video now.
I agree with that.
I want your personal views. I want to watch Madeline's personal views on this franchise. I want to watch Ant's personal views on this franchise, and I want to see them rip each other's heads off when they disagree. I think that
I guess Chloe's opinion is like, don't you just want to see Chloe rip our heads off.
I was using an example.
No. My opinion is that I am looking at all of this and just shoveling popcorn into my face.
Me and Chloe are on the couch eating popcorn while you guys kill each other.
Oh yes.
And then he comes in with the chair. And I look really
But that's like what makes discourse interesting. I don't know why and I think that I was talking to a few of you. Was it you guys that I was talking about this with? I think I like the academic back and forth, like coming up with a like that's interesting to me. That's how we get smarter, I think.
Well,
I agree. For me, it's like I get really upset when people are like, they see one of my videos and like, well, you're wrong and you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, well, then tell me why I'm wrong. Let's talk about it. Like, so much internet conversation and dialogue is based around winning and losing and beating somebody and making somebody look like a fool or whatever. But like, I really think it's so much interesting to be like, oh, hey, that is a good point. Like, if somebody comments on my video with a good point, I'm like, oh, hey, that's interesting. And they react like I've done something no one's ever done before. And I just find that kind of fascinating because that's how media conversation and discussion should go. It should be a dialogue. Yeah.
Agreed. 100% agree with that. I think it's
right kills discussion, said somebody in chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the idea of beating someone in a fight over opinions is kind of pointless. I say as someone who's gotten to argue with people over opinions, but I do it because I think that the argument is where you get to really see the insight in media. I think by debating and going back and forth in these topics, you really get an appreciation as long as you do it with a mutual respect of the person you're talking to. You get a sense of like, okay, how can we dive into this topic more? And I think like the conduct of how we conduct ourselves in that interpretation too, because there is a smarminess to some media analysts who I've discussed in this channel before, where you get a sense of like they think that they're right and that you're stupid for not thinking what they think. That bothers me. That deeply upsets me. But when it's someone who says their opinions and they're being heartfelt, even if you disagree with it, I think a good example of this would be like some of Neurality's videos. Cause I think like I disagree with some of what she says, but like she's saying it from a place of sincerity and she's not being mean about it versus someone like Just a Robot, where it's like he's making fun of people who disagree with him and like mocking them. And that pisses me off. Whereas someone like who says something I may disagree with, but like they still mean it and like are trying to present an opinion, like that's different to me, I think. So that's my perspective.
Listen, Anthony.
Yes.
This is a very diverse community. We also accept people with wrong opinions. So
this is true. This is very true. Except for Jar.
I agree. No, like it's unfortunate that you think the thing that you do, and I will pray for you. But I accept that you are incorrect in a way that's really embarrassing.
I'm glad it's a safe space for my embarrassing opinions.
It's a safe place to be wrong about things, yes.
All right. There's a few more super chats I do want to get through before we keep going. But User225, it's Gramooglin time.
Oh,
I had to.
God.
I'm sorry. I had to say that. And they've been moved all over the place. Baichi Apiodera, thank you for Super Chat. Spider-Man 3, The Forgiveness. Yeah, exactly. Adrian Parchman, what about the Rankin Bass Lord of the Rings Hobbit one? So Rankin, that's a tough one because Rankin Bass did the Hobbit film and he did the Return of the King. Ralph Bakshi did the Lord of the Rings film that adapted The Fellowship and Two Towers. I do not have a strong opinion on any of those films. I think that they are interesting works from the time. I think of all of them, the most watchable is the Hobbit adaptation. I think the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings film is hard to watch.
A lot of Ralph Bakshi stuff is hard to watch.
Yeah, like
He didn't get the rotoscoping down for that movie. I recently watched every Ralph Bakshi film because I'd never seen really one of his movies before, and that was one I was like, I think I can skip this. After 20 minutes, I was like, I don't need to see any more of this movie.
It's hard to sit through.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That's I just rewatched it recently. I'm like, oh, this is, and it's like, it's just. I prefer Fire and Ice, honestly, of Ralph Bakši's fantasy
agree.
films. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably his best of his fantasy. I mean, I think his best movie is American Pop would be mine, but if you wanted to watch one, that's a really good.
Come on, No Love for Cool World.
Fritz the Cat was also something.
Fritz the Cat's fun.
Fritz the Cat's is interesting.
That's a fun one. Yeah, it's a fun one.
All right, Nick Wolf.
There's some uncomfortable things in it, but
deeply. But it has an ethos.
Look, 90% of the commenters are furry, so they're gonna love it.
Yeah, there we go. It all works out,
including me.
There you go. It works out.
I more meant the
racism stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Wolf, thank you for Super Chat. Is there a fan edit for The Hobbit? Yeah, there's a fan edit for The Hobbit. A fan edit tier. Oh, I'm not sure. I wouldn't put it there either. Angels Art and Gaming. Hot take. I like Bakši's film better than Jackson's. That is a take. I don't agree with it. Oh, but you also clarified later. I meant Rankin Bass. I forgot. Okay, that's also fair. I don't know if I agree with you on that one, but I appreciate your opinion all the same. I don't know if I agree though. Terminal Sanity, thank you for Super Chat. I'd like another take at Lord of the Rings that corrects the Frodo Sam Gollum and how Frodo used the ring's influence over Gollum to destroy the ring. In the Legolas and Gimli and Denethor and Faramir dynamics. Yeah, I can see another adaptation be good, but it'd have to be very different.
Is that all the Super Chats?
There's one more too. Splungus. Thank you for Super Chat. I disagree. I think Dune Part 1 and 2 are better than the book. I just hate the amount of inner monologues and how none of the characters feel human in the book. Oh,
that's kind of the intention.
I have some thoughts on that. I don't want to argue with you in chat, but I do not agree with you on that one. I love Dune as a book, but I'm also very biased.
Dune is doing something very specific and very intentional. It's like they feel so inhuman. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, Dune is very. If you notice something in Dune where you're like, this doesn't feel quite right, it's done by design. Like, none of it is accidental. Like, if you have an issue with Dune, it's because that type of story just doesn't resonate with you. And that's fine. But, like, Dune is a masterwork of fiction because, not necessarily because everyone's going to resonate with it. In fact, many people don't. But it's like, it's doing exactly what it set out to do very, very well, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold back on Doom because that's another one I can go on for hours on, and have. Sorry, but Krim, you're gonna say something before? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Sorry to get back on my little Lord of the Rings bugbear, but I think one of my favorite, my least favorite things about the Jackson films is the myth it started about elves and dwarves fucking hating each other. For one thing, the reason that the elves and dwarves have an uncomfortable relationship is very specific to the world of the Lord of the Rings. There's an in-universe reason and an in-universe event that happened very specifically that drove them apart, but they used to work together. Secondly, Gimli and Legolas are not rivals. They adore each other. Gimli loves elves to the point where he's made fun of it by other dwarves. And by the end of the franchise, like, in everything but name, Gimli and Legolas are basically married.
Yeah.
They live together. They travel back and forth as, like, representatives of their kingdom from the Elven kingdom to the Dwarf kingdom. Not separately, not visiting each other. They're always together after their journey within the Fellowship. For the rest of their lives, for the rest of Gimli's life, at least.
Yeah.
Like,
They were
obviously an elf.
roommates. I love it.
They were roommates, sort
Yeah.
of. Yeah,
They
exactly.
like say very affectionate things to each other. I would have to go back and read it, but like there was some there were words of adoration and how like, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Like they were basically married. Like, so the fact that they're shown in the movies to have like this frenemy thing going on, it's so inaccurate.
Also, there's not enough kissing and hand holding.
They do get married at the end of it. You know, it just takes a little bit.
Yeah, it's enemies to lovers as opposed to friends to lovers.
Well, they also don't have those conversations about how, like, oh, I'm going to show you all the fineries of the dwarven halls, or they don't do any of that. And, like, there's no, like, promise of, like, we're spending the rest of our lives together in the movies. Like,
yeah,
there's
the
an
books
implication that they're very close friends, but it's, like, very explicit, like, from book one.
Yeah, the books are also just more affectionate. Like, there's way more affection in Lord of the Rings, the work, than Lord of the Rings, the film.
Frodo just kisses everybody.
Yeah, he is a
likes
icon.
kissing boys.
That's how you get mono. You gotta be careful with that.
Listen, Frodo just wants to eat all the food in the world and kiss all the boys, which is just a lovely set of goals to have in life.
Also, like, Frodo's actually a little bit older than the rest of the
he's
hobbits.
Like 40, right? 40, 50?
Well, yeah, but, like, that's like late 20s, early 30s in Hobbit years.
That's fair.
They age a little slower.
There's an age gap between him and Sam that's significant.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant age gap.
And like 11 years passed between the party and like him leaving on his quest, whereas in like the movie it's like a weekend travel.
The next night or something, yeah.
It's like, is it secret? I ran over here after a weekend of reading in the library. Anyway, let's move on to a higher caliber series than Lord of the Rings. Child's play, really. Resident Evil's where we really the real adults come out.
We're talking about movies with this one?
You can burn it with
not
fire.
the games, the movies. Now,
the video games are great.
The games are amazing, but
why are they making these? Why are they making these?
Now that before
they haven't made a single good one, and they've tried so many times in so many different mediums.
Before you say anything, though, there's one piece of news I think is very important to keep in mind. There's a new Resident Evil movie coming out. It's being developed right now by the guy by the one guy who did Barbarian, and it was in the TV show The Whitest Kids You Know.
I know you're talking about. This may be a hot take. I thought Barbarian was hot garbage.
What?
I thought it was terrible.
What?
I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
What? Madness and malarkey. Slander.
Awful. No, I hated every second of it. I think it's terrible. I think it's awful.
If they make a Resident Evil movie, they have to put Leon in it, and he has to be a twunk, like the twunkiest twunk that ever twonked.
That's fair. I would be down.
He has to be gorgeous.
Is that like
he has to be
agreed.
Objectified. Yeah. We need to see at least one scene. Have you never heard of twunk before?
The camera has
I've
to
never heard that term before.
Really? No. It's like a buff twink.
Like a cross between a hunk and it's like a cross between a hunk and a twink. Yeah.
Like a
anyway,
twink.
Also we have to see like. I need like full like rear view nudity at least once of Leon as Kennedy, or it won't be a good adaptation.
We need some raw
Maybe
dogging in these movies, like stat.
Yeah.
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 Crim, what you're gonna get is you're gonna get a butt shot, but it's gonna be of Nemesis.
Yes, finally.
Camera
Finally,
lingering on
yes.
Nemesis from behind.
God, all my.
Wait, is this a Metal
dreams are
Gear
coming true.
reference?
Maybe- okay, I
No,
lost my
Nemesis
mind
from
on
Resident Evil. Oh wait, oh.
No.
If it's
Yeah,
a Metal
sorry.
Gear reference, it's gonna be like someone's gonna be in disguise as someone else, and they're gonna reach down
No,
below the
it-
pants to see. I
No.
know who you play. Who are you? You're not so and so.
No, it's a like, is this a Metal Gear reference in and of itself is a meme?
That's valid. That's valid.
They should do Metal Gear Solid references in Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
Then
but
I'll watch
I think
it.
we all agree why they're making these is a good answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
Okay, Star Wars.
I'm out. I don't care.
Ooh,
Not
I don't care what you
controversial.
wanna do. I'm done. I don't care.
ooh,
No.
Good
okay.
theories
One
that
thing,
should end or slow down because there
Yep.
have been some good stuff coming out. Acolyte, Andor for 2 of them. I haven't seen Skeleton
Andor
Crew
is
yet,
good.
so I
Andor's
like
really
Andor.
good.
so
I
I
think
cannot really give an impression on Skeleton Crew. But
Skeleton Crew's solid. I
the
thought.
fact that they have proven that they can still make pretty decent stuff with the Star Wars IP is good enough that I want to see more of it, but I definitely want to see it end at some point.
I think it was great when it was a once in a generation kind of thing. You got 3 movies every few years. Like we're talking like
A few decades.
yeah, a decade between at least. And I thought that worked really well. I think there's been some good spin-offs. I think the Rogue One Andor stuff's really good. I think Skeleton Crew is really good. I think Acolyte had some problems, but I think the good outweighed the bad for the Acolyte. I think Mandalorian has had some good stuff, but like a lot of it is just so much. And unlike the MCU, which I think you have so many different characters with different worlds and different perspectives, it's all the same world, and I think it's just we need to slow down. Like it's like we need it once. We need like a couple. Like I know with like Marvel recently, we had like a year where the only Marvel film was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was like okay. The only TV shows were Echo and Agatha, which were like just very low key, very nothing too substantial. Good, but nothing like heavy duty Marvel stuff. And we're like, okay, we're good. And after that break, I'm like, yeah, I can do some more Marvel stuff. Star Wars, it's been every few months something new with Star Wars. I'm like, no, we need like an off year. We need a couple off years. Make us miss Star Wars again. Because it's so much so quickly. I want to have a year where we don't go to the galaxy far, far away. I get to look at other things. So when it comes back, you're like, oh no, now we're back. Now we got something going. And it doesn't even have to be anything different. It could just be a year we just hit the brakes on something. Because it's just too much of Star Wars, I think.
My thoughts and feelings on it are that Star Wars works better when it's very pulled back, or just not pulled back. That's not the way. I think that the more they reveal about how the world operates, the worse it gets. Because I will say here's my sort of breakdown of it. The enchanting and interesting part of the first trilogy was the friendship, how it changed, how it grew between Han, Luke, and Leia. And how those 3 people played a key part in bringing about change in their world, and how they did so very differently. Ultimately, Star Wars kind of sets up a very like black and white worldview, and like there's problems with that. It's fine, and the way that you should then go on to make the way that you would then go on to like expand upon that is that you would make things more nuanced. And without mentioning any names, because you're going to know exactly who I'm talking about when I say this, Anthony.
Yep.
You
probably.
can't make the Sith nuanced. They're evil.
Yeah.
Period. There's nothing good about the Sith. You cannot redeem them. There is something to say about the dark side and about duality, but like the Sith don't represent the whole of the dark side of the Force, for one thing. You can't redeem them. Period. Stop trying to redeem them. Stop. You're like the fucking like stupid Sith OCs that are trying to like, well, actually, this character has a lot of nuance. It's like, no, they're representations of like the worst of humanity, and how violent and greedy and vengeful and like how that anger corrupts someone to the point that they no longer resemble a person. That's the whole point of the Sith. It kind of does end up making for a very black and white worldview. Sometimes that's okay, but the more you try to explore characters and round them out and make them more nuanced, like the harder it is to stay in that framework, to the point that you're just going to break the earlier entries in the franchise and make them weaker, I think.
I think the Sith work best when you look at the dark side as the easy solution to a complicated problem. Like, I think it's so interesting when you have like the dark side represent. There are two options: there's the tough way, and there's the easy way. And the easy way forces you to give in, encourages you to give in to your worst impulses. That's why I think like with a lot of, or just doing destructive things that hurt people. I think the Sith should be tragic, but tragic is not the same as sympathetic. And I don't think this is just the certain person we're both thinking of, Krim, when we're talking about an individual who seems to romanticize the Sith a little too much. I think even the Acolyte did this to an extent, where they did show the Sith and the dark side as sympathetic, but like sympathetic in regards to the tragedy of a situation.
That sort of animated collection of Star Wars shorts. There was one.
Visions?
It was made by Studio Trigger.
Yeah, with the twins, right? Or like the two...
Yeah, and one of them was... They were twins, yeah.
Yeah. That was good.
And the way that the dark side had corrupted the sister...
it's dark.
Was really interesting. It was really interesting. And it was very tragic. Yeah, it really sucked. And like you could see why it happened and how they both had similar experiences but made different choices. I liked that reflection and mirror, I think.
Agreed.
It uses a dark mirror of yourself.
I like it when the Sith feel weary. Like, I like it like how in like Rebels, Darth Maul seems weary. How in the original trilogy, Vader seems exhausted just as much as angry. Like, there's a real sense of pathos to the Sith. But that's not the same thing as like saying they're the good guy. It's more like their own anger is wearing them down. Like, there's such an interesting component that you can show. But I think by making them... Sorry.
No, it's okay. They've also been groomed and used.
Exactly.
And I don't think... Like, that's tragic. I don't think that means that the decisions they made were good. And I don't think that means that the path that they're on is one that anyone should be on.
Agreed.
You know,
and I think that's interesting. I think it's compelling. I think that's really good storytelling when it's done well. I think there's a reason why most people agree with the sequel trilogy that Kylo Ren was one of the best parts, because of until I think the end of that trilogy. I think he should have stayed a villain till the very end. I don't like his redemption. I think it would be more interesting if we see someone who doesn't follow that suit personally, but I do think it's very interesting, that arc. And of course, Adam Driver is a really good actor. I think there's a lot of good in Star Wars. I just think I just need less of it for now, and I'll miss it. Because people were hyped for Episode 7 when it came out, because we missed Star Wars. We wanted to see Star Wars come back, and now it's like, I think a lot of the fatigue we're seeing is because there's just so much of it that keeps coming out. You're like, okay, it's not Marvel.
We wanted more Star Wars a decade ago. Now that we have had a full decade of non-stop Star Wars every single year in one way or another, it's like, I could live for another decade without Star Wars every single fucking year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would need a decade to catch up on it all.
Yeah. I think we need time to miss it. We need time to miss it. And I think more than any franchise here, I think that's the one the most where I feel like I need time to miss this.
franchise fatigue describes what's going on with Star Wars perfectly, I think.
Yeah, it's a great series, but we just need to chill down a bit, Disney. We don't need a show every 5 months on Disney Plus for Star Wars. There's a lot of super chats I think they can add to the discussion of Star Wars too.
Can I give maybe
Yeah, go for it. I'm
the
sorry.
hottest take of all?
Go for it.
I have zero emotions either way towards Star Wars as a franchise.
That is a hot
I
take.
don't love it. I don't hate it. I feel just more neutral than could. I don't feel anything with the exception of the Jenny Tartakovsky Clone Wars from way back when, which is one of my favorite things ever. I feel 0% of anything, good or bad, towards Star Wars.
That's valid.
It just there are good movies and bad movies, obviously, but like as a franchise, even as a kid, I was like, I don't know, it was like, all right, this is all right. I don't know. It just never sparked anything in me like it did to a lot of other people, I guess.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's. I have a lot of strong feelings about Star Wars. I like Star Wars a bit, but I also hear you. I really just want to miss Star Wars again. That's what I want to do. I want to have it. Just have a little more time, in my opinion. But anyway, there's a few super chats I do want to read real quick before we move on to the next one. Nick Wolf, I liked Wizard. Oh, back on Ralph Bakshi. Because only for Peace, the robot, and the fact that it ends with the most unwizardly wizard duel in all of cinema. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's valid. That's a great one. The Guide 493 is on Resident Evil. Oh, we know why. In regards to why Resident Evil has continued so long. Paul W.S. Anderson is a wife guy. That's valid. I'm fine with making movies to give your wife work. I have no issue with that.
Wife guys are underrated.
Yeah, that's valid. That's the most acceptable reason to make sequels. Nick Wolf, end of 2019, I would generously say end slow down. Now I'm saying they fell off. Only Andor keeps it from why are they still making this territory. I like Skeleton Crew quite a bit though. I just think it was just. I think Skeleton Crew is what Star Wars, if you're making the shows, should be. Just fun little entries that don't require a ton of thought. User2225, I don't know. I feel like Star Wars cancels all its plans these days. Also valid. They can't make a plan to save their life. Splungus. I love that name, Splungus. The best thing Star Wars can do is move on from the past. No more Skywalkers. Also, Krim, I thinking you like the Thrawn trilogy if you want good OG cast interactions. Yeah, the Thrawn trilogy is pretty solid. Have you ever read the Thrawn trilogy?
I have not.
They have an audiobook if you want to hear that instead of reading it, but they're both fantastic. I have them somewhere on the shelf behind me. User225, Star Wars, The Old Republic cinematic trailers are peak Star Wars IMO. So I don't disagree there. Jedi Knight 5641, Star Wars thrives in animation. Its animated projects are good shows. Some more for kids than others, but all good. I agree with that. Animation Star Wars excels, in my opinion. The Guy 493, by the end of Return of the Jedi, Vader clearly regrets everything he has done, but he genuinely believes he has no other choice, and that's tragic. Agreed. It's a tragedy to Vader's character that makes him compelling. And I feel like a lot of the stuff we've been getting recently has forgotten that tragedy of Star Wars. And a lot of the fans, I think, have forgotten the tragedy, too. And that kind of goes into the whole Watsonian versus Doyleist interpretation, too, to an extent. Nick Wolf must go sleep and get up early for snow shoveling. That said, for a future entry, loved it when Meet the Fockers De Niro said, "It's Fockering time." Good night. Love it. Yeah.
It was pretty, and it fits so well with the themes.
Yeah,
of the franchise, which is what I like about it.
But
I'd definitely say for the next one that we're looking at.
Yes, Back to the Future.
I
would put it in. I need more for the worst reasons possible.
Yes, agreed.
I will. No,
Are they
I will
making-
protest.
No, they're not.
I will go to Universal and I will protest any sequels to this series. Zero.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Not even for the. You know what? You want to make a joke about Back to the Future? you want to do a little kidding, little bits? Not on my watch. Not on Madeline County. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
I don't think. Now, they say that you can't make Blazing Saddles today, but I don't think you can make Back to the Future today?
Unfortunately, no, because Rick and Morty killed any opportunity, any desire to see more of that dynamic.
Okay, but
That's true.
the worst
That
reason
is,
I would put it in for, the worst reason I would ever want a new Back to the Future film is if they did it in the style of the animated show and they did it as a crossover with Rick and Morty.
I can't even say no to that.
Takes me back. Yeah.
I can't even say
there
no to
was a
that. That's
cartoon.
great. You
I
sold
remember
me.
that.
You sold me on it. You sold me on this pitch.
Okay, but what if it was okay? Consider this.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Future, but in the style of like the real Ghostbusters or the not the X-Men, the Men in Black cartoon.
Oh, that'd be
Where it's
interesting.
like kind of, sort of related to the movies. Like, who cares about live action adaptations? Bring back animated adaptations.
You ever play the
Where
video
it's
game
like,
for Back to the
what
Future?
What the fuck does this have anything to do with the original series? I don't freaking care. Let's watch this shit.
I always loved
I
when they
think
had
we
like the
should-
RoboCop
I think-
cartoon that was like, what even is this? What are we doing here, guys?
Okay, so I have an idea for the sequel that I would watch. Okay, it's Back to the Future meets the Polar Express.
Get the fuck.
It's just,
You know what?
girl,
I smell
that's
money.
just fucking, that's just Snowpiercer.
I
Get
Yeah,
out.
that's
no,
basically
I still
Snowpiercer.
cash. I still cash.
All joking aside, I think we all
He's
agree
like
that.
racing the train with the car flying.
Oh
That'd
my
be fun.
god, yeah. That's the plot of Back to the Future Part 3. Basically.
That's
Also,
true. Yeah, it would actually just be part 3, but they're in the Christmas.
but they also have a time traveling
In
train by the end of the series, so they can use the time traveling train.
That's
on
just like
steam
a fucking
power.
Doctor Who episode.
Basically.
You know, the time traveling train should fight the Polar Express.
I,
for dominance
it
on
would
the
win.
rails.
It would win.
Actually, you know what? Joy to the World had time traveling, had a train, an express train. I don't know.
I don't
Like
know.
the Joy to the
I don't
World,
know if I
the
saw that
Christmas
one.
special. It's a Christmas special that just came out.
I still have to see that
okay.
one.
The
By the-
Kagawa.
I will say this. I think Back to the Future, I think we all are saying the same thing, that Back to the Future is basically a perfect trilogy. I mean, 3 is not as good as the first 2, but it's like with the Godfather, but it's still like, we really
the
can't
first one's one of my
continue it.
favorite films of all
As
time.
long-
It's
Agreed.
diminishing returns after that, honestly. So yeah, we don't need it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not irony pilled, where it's like we're gonna do an edgy reboot
Well,
of Back to the Future. Fuck off!
Hell
Like
yeah.
I
No,
don't hate
yeah.
that.
Well, I have
but,
a lot of
like, It
respect-
has to be goofy.
I have a lot of respect for like all the people involved creatively who are all like, none of us want to continue after the third one. We all think it ended on a good note, and that's
Yes.
it. We're not continuing it. That's the end of
Yeah,
it.
I am kind of morbidly interested in like the edgelord Back to the Future, like super serious.
So Rick and Morty.
that does sound extremely funny to me.
So Rick and Morty.
Okay. Okay.
Rick and
before
Morty,
we-
Travelers, like there's so many. there's
I
so
feel
many
like we're.
that are
I feel
bad.
like
We're saying the
at
same
that
thing.
point you may as well make a Riverdale version of Back to the Future.
No.
They should
Oh,
though.
Oh my god, yes, yes. Everyone's fucking each other. Everyone is also worshiping Lovecraft for some
no,
reason. It's great.
You made me
Good all.
think of something cursed. You made me think of something cursed.
Oh, I thought of it too.
You know what I'm
this
thinking.
next one,
in,
though.
and
Yeah.
I'm
This
throwing
next
it
one,
So
out.
this next one is interesting. Narnia.
I need more of it.
No.
I need more of this.
You're getting more of it.
because yeah.
Greta Gerwig's
need-
making
Yeah,
it.
more
I-
Narnia's
they-
fine. Let's get more
they-
Narnia. I agree.
This has been on the pipeline for a full decade. I am kind of curious as to how they would adapt the Silver Chair onwards, because they were getting there in the in the Disney ones, but they never really got past Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which while that run of the first 3 is perfect, I feel like the Silver Chair onwards is interesting because it goes to the Great War sort of situation.
I
I
want to
think
see
they
them
should
do.
be. I think they should be bold and start the franchise over with A Horse and His Boy. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
give them something to think about. Yeah.
I just want to see how they would do the last battle with Susan, because I feel like that's a whole discussion there that is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's what I also want them to cover as well. Because like I'm just like,
Or
do you just
the
out-
Magician's Nephew, the most boring of the books.
Yeah, and I think also the thing with Narnia is it comes from a very interesting era in fantasy where it is alongside Lord of the Rings essentially when it came out, And I think it was at that point where fantasy wasn't as clearly defined as it was post Lord of the Rings. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do in terms of adaptation. And the fact that we never got a full adaptation of the work. I have another question. Has anyone seen the BBC version of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Yes.
That is the one
Yes,
I actually
I have.
It is-
on before the-
Yeah.
I
Me
like
too.
it. I like it. It's really. I mean, it's dated, yeah,
That's-
but it's really solid. I thought.
Yeah, that's what I
there
think of
was
when
a
I think
cart-
of. Yeah.
Like it's
I think there was a
compelling.
cartoon of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Probably.
Am I misremembering this? I feel like I saw that. Like I feel like there was an animated, or maybe
So-
I'm losing my mind.
You might be.
Also, fun story. My one of my elementary school teachers read us the entire series, and that was really fun.
That's a great book to read to elementary. I love that series.
That
I
was
mean,
really fun. Yeah, it was like fourth
Can I-
grade or something. Yeah.
I will say.
mhm,
I will say.
mhm.
This might feel targeted.
Yeah.
But Chronicles of Narnia makes me want to commit hate crimes against Anglican.
Aw.
Also, a great response to both actually Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings.
His Golden Compass?
Is his Dark Materials.
Yep.
Yeah, which Golden Compass is the first book, and what the series as a whole tends to be called because it's kind of about the Golden Compass. But
Mhm.
Philip Pullman came from the same sort of school and circles that Tolkien and Lewis came from, but just like a generation after. And he was like, you know what? You guys are glazers. Fuck the system. I hate the church.
Oh, I love his Dark Materials as well. Also, Krim, there was an adaptation of it fairly recently with your favorite person in the world, Lin-Manuel Miranda, in it.
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I actually did like him in that. I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think that's
the
it's a great-
only.
Yeah.
I think apart from, I actually love that adaptation. It's probably my favorite book to screen adaptations. It's
Fantastic.
faithful enough. Daphne Keane, perfect.
Daphne Keane has to be one of the most underrated actresses currently working, I
Yeah.
think. Like, she's fantastic.
I loved Mrs. Coulter in that. Like, it was just, it was so good. And like, yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I think other than that one episode of House, I think that's the only thing I've really liked him in.
Yeah. I think if we can, I don't think it is his Dark
It's
Materials
definitely
on
not.
here. I don't think it would be. I think
Yeah,
as an
there's like newer books called and I'm reading the series now, the Books of Dust, which is kind of like in the same world, well, worlds.
yeah, multiverse. I think as an
Yeah.
extension, if we include his Dark Materials as a kind of an adjunct to Narnia, I think it definitely goes in great series, keeps delivering. Because I feel like the conversation with Narnia, you got to mention his Dark Materials since they're so aligned, even though they're not in the same continuity at all. They're so thematically in that conversation.
Yeah,
I think it's important.
I mean, like his Dark Materials is literally a critique of Narnia.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything it stands for.
And I think it's kind of hard to separate the two works now, especially if you grew up with both, like a lot of us millennials did, because they were both available when you were in school and stuff.
I read Narnia
I
when I was
a
like
sci-fi
deep.
kid, so that's the stuff I was reading.
Yeah.
I was also
Since
reading
child.
sci-fi, but like I read a lot.
I was reading Osmoth and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my
Same.
version of all this.
Narnia, I read when I was deep in the young Earth creationist pits, and
Oh my god, I'm
his
so
Dark
sorry.
And then his Dark Materials is basically why I'm an atheist now. So
Yeah,
Aw.
it pulled you out of like the young Earth world.
yeah,
Which is
yeah. I mean,
good.
like I was starting to come out of it then, and I was kind of agnostic. Read his Dark Materials, and then also watched Evangelion. And,
Yeah,
that's my personality.
Yeah,
that would make you make you
yeah,
atheist and trans.
Evangelion, you're either come out
And
as
queer.
an atheist, trans, or both.
Or gay or bi.
still-
And gay, and like so, yeah, all
And
of
gay,
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would do it. Yeah, that makes sense. That do you know how many like trans people I know who love Evangelion? Like, it's a lot. I'm actually surprised how many. So many.
Why are you
Increasing
surprised?
numbers
Well, I'm
every day.
I'm
Don't even
surprised
worry
that
about it.
I'm surprised it didn't cause like more. It's funny. Like it's just funny. Like I think like as like a cis but bi Evangelion fan, I'm like, oh yeah, it's bisexuality. But then I realized, wait, a lot of trans people also love Ava too, and I didn't pick up on like
Shinji is a trans woman. You will not convince me otherwise. I'm
What?
sorry. You,
Well, I mean-
you will not.
I do like that interpretation, but I don't think it's the only valid interpretation. I think you can
We
interpret.
literally, yeah, of course. We literally just had this
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like,
yes, true.
the like the lad has some troubles with gender, like obviously, and I think that like there are multiple good endings, and
Mhm.
that could
And
come
we
of
get
that.
none of them because that's what Eva.
We get
Yeah,
none of them. No, he just kills his boyfriend in every continuity and ends
Kills
miserable.
his boyfriend, strangles his girlfriend. You know, it's great.
Yeah, it's the bi.
Spoiler,
I'm kidding,
I guess
kidding.
spoiler, sorry.
Also, I will have to duck out. I do have some things I have to attend to, but I definitely did want to get my opinion in on Narnia real quick, which is, yeah, that area.
No, I love that. But Chloe, thank you so much for joining us. And you're always welcome to these at any point.
Oh,
Ever.
I know. I just wanted to jump in for the bit, but I wanted to stick around just for a little bit, so thank you for having me.
No, it's no problem. By the way, chat, just so you know, I've set up a Discord of people who I just stream with all the time. So at any moment, anyone could just pop in on these streams. It's really terrible and wonderful at the
It's
same
really
time.
dangerous that you're telling me that personally.
You're in the Discord.
Yeah, same.
I will just jump on every stream. You understand? Even if I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
We will
Hunter.
I
just
need
it will just be
attention.
suddenly Chloe.
I got too much of it as a kid, and I need more.
Well,
So
because
thank you.
I think
thank
like
you.
I think everyone we've ever streamed with have been invited to the Discord. I don't think some have accepted yet, but I think most have, which is pretty fun. So if they've streamed before with me, there's a possibility they could just appear at any moment if they really wanted to.
Like it's like Cheers. All your friends are here.
There we go. Exactly.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go.
Everybody knows your name.
Everyone,
Yep.
for better or worse, unfortunately. In some cases, your home address.
I know where you live too. Who said that?
Oh,
disturbingly, it's terrible. I mean, I know where you live too,
wow.
Crim, so it all works out.
I think I've literally given you my address, so.
You have, yes, for the microphone.
Anyway, actually popping off now. Gotcha.
All right, bye,
Bye.
Chloe.
I
Alright.
will say I have to dip out at least at 7:30. I can't go. P.S. I'm on the West Coast, so 7:30 Pacific time.
Oh, what time is it
It's
for you
about
now?
place I can say personally today. But yeah,
What time is it for you now? I forget what time it is. Pacific
it is 6:47, so I got like another 45 minutes.
Okay, let's
we
just
may
go
need
through-
to do a part 2. I'm predicting.
Let's
of
see.
this?
Probably. Let's see how much we can get through for now, and then I can keep this tab open for next time. But let's keep going as long as we can until we have to run
Mhm.
away. But Toy Story.
No, the fourth one was so
They
bad.
fell off.
Yeah.
They fell off.
Yeah, I'm with. They should not be making a fifth. I'm telling you. I'm saying right now,
The
controversial take.
third one was such a good ending, hurt my feelings. I grew up with that series. I was
Same.
the same age. I had just started college. Destroyed me.
I saw Toy Story 3 at my high school graduation. The day before I graduated high school, I saw Toy Story 3. And the day I went to college, guess what movie was the first people who became my friends, guess what movie they put on? Toy Story 3. That movie like breaks me.
My God, I will say I think Toy Story 1 is the best Pixar movie ever made. Still is, followed by Finding Nemo. Yeah. So let's stop making these movies. They're done.
Yeah.
I think that Toy Story 2 is a little bit better than Toy Story 1, but I can see the merit in
but God,
calling-
it's hard because Toy Story 2
I
is really
think that-
good, but
I think it depends what you get out of them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think Toy Story 2 I like more as well, but like it's mainly because
one has so many
of
interesting like story decisions that it's hard for me to like. I think that's still
It's
gonna be the
very-
better one personally.
well, it's the
I
prospect
think that
of
like Toy Story 1 is also less predictable than Toy Story 2.
That's why
Like,
I
I
like
knew
it. I think.
exactly-
It's that unpredictability of the first one that I think is its strength. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that with Toy Story 2, there's the theme of inevitability. Like, the biggest conflict of that film does not get resolved in that film. And until Toy Story 3 was even announced, there was no idea it would even be resolved, really. And I think that was still very powerful. The prospect of this will one day pass, you know? Like, that element of it is so powerful and so tragic. And there's like a sense of real maturity about facing the inevitability of like existence in a way that was very accessible. Also, and Austin the Ambitious, welcome as a member. I'll post a Discord link
Hi.
after.
Hello,
Sorry.
ambitious.
So I think with Toy Story, and 4 isn't even bad. That's the thing. Toy Story 4 is not a bad movie. I just think they should stop making them.
Yeah,
No, it's a bad movie. Toy Story 4 is pretty bad. That's awful.
yeah. It reverses a lot of character growth, I think.
It does, yeah.
And like the thing is that like I also think that Toy Story suffers majorly from the Watsonian versus Doyleist thing, and I don't think people even realize that they're doing it. They're like, well, what do the toys literally represent? Are they parents? Are they children? Are they slaves? And it's like, they're toys.
Yeah.
Think about how the characters are feeling and what they're going through. Don't literally think of them being owned by somebody. Like, that's not really what it's about. It's
Agreed.
about the feelings that they're having.
Yeah, it's more about the emotional journey they travel on than anything specific. People get too caught up in, how the toys function. Why doesn't anyone notice that they're alive? It's like, well,
yeah,
it's not really
literally
point.
the most boring take you could have. Yeah, like it's like saying like, oh, who would win in a fight, Superman or the Hulk? Like, who fucking cares?
The Hulk would.
It's a stupid question.
The Hulk absolutely would. What are you talking about?
You're such a fucking boy.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yeah, the Hulk probably would. If Goku was there, it would still be the Hulk, actually.
Well, because here's the thing: Superman wouldn't want to punch the Hulk that hard. The Hulk keeps coming back.
Okay, listen.
That's very
Here's the
fair.
thing. Here's the thing. What if they kissed instead?
Yes, also valid. Also
I feel
valid.
like that could kill. That would maybe kill Superman, depending on is Hulk's dick also like the Hulk that it's transformed?
No, I think he gets.
I think he's a gentle
some...
lover. The
Well,
Hulk?
No, I think he gets. I think he gets like some roid groin going on there.
Well, this
Yeah.
is there's a well,
That's
actually
why he's
no,
so mad.
Well, here's the other thing too. In the Marvel universe, sometimes if you have radioactive blood, that also translates to radioactive, which can give your lover cancer, as has happened in some continuities of Marvel.
Amazing.
With Spider-Man.
So stupid.
Radioactive cum.
What?
Amazing.
Start reading
That's
real
how
books.
Spider-Man
reading
killed Mary
comics.
Jane in that one continuity. It was his radioactive
Oh
semen
my
gave
You know,
her
comic
for cancer.
Kyle,
Was
did
it
you
worth
all
it?
read real books? Like real books about the who's that law firm guy that
Daredevil?
David Brit-
Matt Murdock,
whatever.
Daredevil.
Yeah, just,
Well, he doesn't have
just read,
radioactive.
read airplane books like an adult. Airport novels.
Well, Matt. Okay, so first off, Matt Murdock does not have any powers from radiation. He just went blind. He's got acid on his eyes. But the thing also with
Gives
Matt
you
Murdock,
superpowers, I guess. Yeah.
he didn't get superpowers from the radiation, from the whatever he got in his eyes. He
That
got
was
actually
training.
trained. He trained for them, so he's just really, really skilled.
Yeah,
He's like Batman.
Yeah. Also, he
Yeah.
gets around a lot. Like he has a. If you were to list out
No,
all
he
of
gets
his
around,
lovers,
you say.
he gets around a
I
lot.
like how he started this out as a joke, and now it's just the genuine conversation of the stream. This is beautiful.
I mean, listen, even in canon with MCU, has had like at least 5 or 6 different partners.
do you think he fucks the Hulk?
He probably would be open to it.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be open-minded enough to try.
Do you think he had sex with Superman? Maybe he would have.
He probably
I
would.
think if
I mean,
John
I mean,
Constantine was in the
canonically-
MCU, they would be over for all of them.
look, canonically, he has had sex with a Hulk. It's canon. He's canonically in the MCU even, and also the comics. I'm pretty sure too, but in the MCU at least, he has had sex with She-Hulk. So
Yeah, well, that
he-
makes sense because they're both lawyers.
yeah,
right?
exactly. It was they had a night of lawyering and a day of lawyering, a night of superheroing, and then they had sex.
So-
And then Daredevil did the walk of
asecurity
shame.
Coded.
Yeah, and then Daredevil did the walk of shame with a big smile on his face in costume. Like the biggest, goofiest grin
good
that
for him.
morning. It's great.
Good for him.
I love it. Anyway, so yeah, I think Toy Story 5 they're making. I'm not gonna even bother watching that one. This one I feel like is a complicated one though. Mission Impossible.
What is that one?
Mission
I
Impossible.
can't read it.
It's Mission Impossible.
Don't care.
They're supposedly coming out with the last one this year.
I like them. I like the Mission Impossible movies. I haven't even seen all of them. I think Ghost Protocol is the best one.
Yeah.
But no, I like them. I like that they exist. They're very comforting. I'm into Mission Impossible movies.
I'm with you there. I think it's a really good series. I haven't seen all of them myself either. I think I've skipped around a little bit. I forget which one I've missed because I feel like a lot of them they kind of blur together in my head. But like I've liked what I've seen. I think 2 is the
I
weakest
have no
link.
problem with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're solid. It's just consistent. I don't think any of them are better than the best of John Wick, Marvel, Disney, or Star Wars. But I think it's in its consistency where it's
Usually pretty. Like, I usually don't like feel bad that I saw it, and I never feel like it's a mistake to watch a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, 100%. You know what you're gonna get, and it's gonna be really good. What you want from it, but it's never surprising. It's never like life changing. It's just a good time, and it's always a chance to see Tom Cruise pull off the most insane stunts. Just
I mean, I hate to sound like old lady yells at cloud, but I do like when it's practical. I'm sorry. CGI, it kind of glazes over for me. It's like no one's
practical effects.
Same.
Aw,
But these aren't effects.
I love a good web puppet.
But these aren't effects. This is just Tom Cruise jumping off a plane and like skydiving
yeah, but I like
across the field.
when something exists in the real world. I like when movies do that.
Agreed. And one thing I also like about Mission Impossible is that you have so many different directors who are all peak in their type of directing, coming in to do what they gotta do. They got Brad Bird, J.J. Abrams, John Woo, what's his name, who did Carrie and Phantom of the Paradise. Not Michael Mann. What's his name?
Brian De Palma?
Yeah, Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
You got all these really great directors all coming to work on a franchise, and they all bring their different flair to it in a way that's compelling and interesting. Also, you got Henry Cavill ruining Justice League with his mustache.
That was if Mission Impossible is good for anything, it is for that.
Yeah,
that's the best part about Mission Impossible. Yeah.
So Mission Impossible even does like franchise to franchise warfare. You know, which is great.
I love it.
It's fantastic. Also, Henry Cavill, really good in that movie. I will say that. A lot of fun.
I like Henry Cavill. He's a good actor.
He did the gun, like the arm gun pump thing with his like fists. It's great. It's fantastic.
We stand Henry
love
Cavill.
I love it when Henry Cavill builds PCs.
I thought, you know what? Maybe I thought he was good as Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job with that.
I thought, well, the thing is, he was a fan of the character and tried to get them to write the character correctly in the behind the scenes.
I love that video game, so yeah.
I also like seeing him make PCs, which is for arbitrary reasons. So I think we can say, I know, Krim, you have no opinion on Mission Impossible at all, but I feel like the consensus is, yeah, it's solid. It can keep going, even though it's ending up. I think it's ending now, which is good. It's a good place to end it at. But
Mission Impossible is one of those things that once it's all over, I'm just gonna be like, you know what, I want to watch, and I'll just like binge the whole thing in one day and be like, now I have an opinion on it.
So
and
like,
it's not.
Oh, sorry.
Controversial. It's got to be controversial, but it's not happened yet.
Krim, after DashCon, I'm gonna make you binge all the Mission Impossible.
Just gonna fucking like Clockwork Orange Mission Impossible. I'm
gonna get a message from you at like 3 a.m. going, Henry Cavill arm pumping. Why mustache?
You're gonna see Tom Cruise hang off of helicopters in your sleep.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, but how did he climb building though? Without
okay, but like,
can I climb buildings though?
Can I offer an alternative though? That's not on this list, and I know it's not going to be on this list, but I need to bring it up.
Go for it.
Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes, love Dusk Till Dawn. First film obviously the best, but even the sequels are pretty fun, I think.
My favorite part of the first one is that like a whole other movie is going on.
Yeah.
And then wha-bam!
Vampires.
Vampires, and you're like, okay, that's not where I thought this was going, but okay.
Fun.
Tarantino, get that lady's foot out of your mouth, you fucking freak.
So,
anyway, that guy has a gun for a dick.
Seriously, I love it.
Can we scroll? I'm actually curious because you brought up from Dust. I'm wondering if my favorite franchise is even on here, which I'm guessing it's not, or at least I'm not. Yeah, okay, yeah, my favorite franchise that I would watch everything of it Yeah,
that?
no Purge. I think the Purge franchise is my favorite. So,
Purge
I
is
would-
solid.
Dang.
I like the Purge. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I wouldn't even say it's my favorite
I like
horror
it a lot.
franchise, but I do like it.
It's frustrating that people so widely misinterpret it as like
Oh my god, it's
if
so
there's-
specific and obvious with what it's trying to say, and that's why I like it.
the purge would be bad.
Yeah, Purge
in
not
every
good.
single way. That's the purge is not a good thing. It's like
No, it's not.
it's not like supposed to be like. Of course, it's a bad idea.
Yeah, but then again, considering what policies actually make it to Congress, I'm not surprised people want it.
Yeah, I mean, again, just it's very prolific. Anyway, I'm
Uh,
curious about this next one. I feel like I have an answer, but I'm also not sure.
Yeah, let me read a few super chats before we dive into that, just to catch everyone up on here. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Yeah, so Steph the Scientist, Zemeckis Cinematic Universe, the ZemCU, if you will. I love it. But it's like him, Polar Express, and then they go on to the Castaway Island together with Forrest Gump. Love it.
They go to the little town of toy people.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Beowulf gets to hang out too. Yeah, that's
There
fun.
you go. Terminal Sanity, thank you for super chat. My favorite part of the horse and his boy is Shasta/Core and Avis getting mutually passive aggressive about how needlessly cryptic Aslan can be. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, that's up there in terms of Narnia stuff. Okay, so James Bond, 007. I have
don't much
opinions.
opinion.
No opinion?
don't.
I
Quinn?
have
All right. All right. Madeline, what are you going to say on this one?
Here's my thing. I think we are getting 007 modern from other franchises that we really don't need 007 and its specific brand of spy thriller anymore. I mean, plus, like, the Kill James Bond podcast is doing other movies anyway, so it's not like we have to have another one.
Exactly.
So I think it's just, if they don't make any more, I'm not gonna get like mad. It's just is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like with James Bond, like, it's good, but I'm glad it's mostly done right now. Like, I'm glad
We were
it's...
just talking about Mission Impossible, you
Yeah.
know, which is like, I feel like that's doing a lot of like what a James Bond movie would do, but I like the Mission Impossible movies.
You know what they need to do
So-
with James Bond? Make it the next one a period piece. Make it a 60s period piece.
Yeah,
You can also
whole-
make
I
James
think-
Bond trans.
Yeah.
Those are my two recommendations.
Yeah, down for that.
Make
I
James
think
Bond
there's-
trans and put it in like the 60s. Yeah.
I think that like I wish there were more series that were okay with being period pieces.
Mm-hmm.
For like the 90s and 80s. Where it's like, well, how would we adapt this? Like, because cell phones exist now, it's like, don't like make it a period piece. Just you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like
It
if they ever made an Animorphs,
needs to be the 90s.
sorry,
Needs to be
if
the
they
90s.
ever made, yeah, it needs to be the 90s. It has to be. It has to be pre 2001. Obviously. It has
make
to be
sense
pre
otherwise,
cell
yeah.
phone. Yeah, it would not work. Like the Yerks would not be able to get a foothold in a post 9/11 society.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
Not like that anyway.
I think we need more period pieces in the era, and I think James Bond works perfectly as a 60s or 70s period piece work. I think the original run with Sean Connery is really good consistently. I think there's some better than others. I think Goldfinger's the best one. I
would
think
agree with that.
I don't like the Roger Moore era though. I can't think of many of the Roger Moore films I'd say I'd love. Lazenby's solid.
At
His
least like
film.
the Pierce Brosnan ones are like goofy in a
Yeah.
fun way.
I like Goldeneye
Um,
quite a lot. I think Goldeneye is one of the better ones.
Die Another Day is so funny. It's just a very funny movie to me.
The Timothy Dalton ones I like too. I like the Timothy Dalton films. And
I also want to let the James Bond people know that I am looking for work and I do accept being your new James Bond. It's very exciting. I know I'm not British and cannot do accents for the life of me, but thank you for hiring me anyway.
you may have to
appreciate
do a lot of working out for that role too, because it's like
No, I don't think so.
I feel like with James Bond, like it's weird because like he's not like a very physical, like he gets into fights, but he's not like he's not like a Captain America where he's like ripping his shirt off regularly and like pulling planes down, but like for
It's
whatever
gonna be a
reason,
new James Bond who just sits around her home and plays video games and watches TV.
isn't
It's
that
been revolutionized?
isn't that just the plot of Kingsman though?
You're right. Yeah.
Isn't that
Back
just
to
the
the drawing
Kingsman?
board with me. Hire me for Kingsman.
Yeah, there we
I'll
go.
do a Kings man. I'll man those kings.
Well, I mean, the
I'll
last
get 'em.
movie they had the
I'm gonna get
stinger
those
for.
kings.
I mean, the last movie they had the stinger for Adolf Hitler at the end of it, so they're teasing up.
I only saw the first two, so I'm not sure what's going on
Oh
now
well,
in the Kingsman.
spoiler
so.
alert! They tease
Whatever.
Hitler like
It's
it's a
very
Marvel
fun.
film at the end. Like they have like him show up like he's the next big, like he's
Adolf
Thanos.
Hitler will return. Yeah.
It's so stupid. But yeah, I think James Bond, like if they just stopped or did a period, I think they should do a period piece. I think they shouldn't keep trying to make it like a Jason Bourne thing. I don't know.
Well, that was Wild Wild West. A perfect movie, and I think we can all agree and move on from that statement. Anyway, next.
I don't know if I can move on for that one actually, but I will because I can't think about it too much more. Okay, X-Men. This is one I think like we all have a strong opinion on.
I think it's got to be done. I mean, if it was again 20 years ago, I would say more X-Men. But God, those last ones were really bad. I think we're done, or at least we need a very severe reboot of the X-Men.
I mean, we're literally getting a big reboot with Marvel now because like they're all clashing in Secret War.
Just with anyone, no, any non-MCU reboot, I'm in. But I don't care if they're in the MCU. Then it becomes boring. Like I've said before, I don't like the MCU. So.
I mean, I want more X-Men right now.
Yeah, same. I want more right this
I
moment.
don't care. I'm not gonna
I don't care what it is. I want more
Whatever.
X-Men.
No, oh my God, whatever. Okay, it's your show. It's your YouTube channel. I'm not gonna say.
Okay, here's the thing.
Whatever.
Is Dark Phoenix one of the worst movies ever made? Yeah, undeniably so. It's heinous. X-Men 3, really bad. Not a fan of that one. X-Men Origins Wolverine, not great. But
X-Men Apocalypse, also bad.
also not good. You're right. No argument there. But
But I still want more.
yeah, that's the thing.
More. Give me more.
That's the crazy
No,
thing.
I want to say I like the X-Men. They're up there for me for superheroes. Like I like the X-Men a lot, but we need to do better. We need to do better by the X-Men.
All right.
But what about Logan?
Logan's a
and,
masterpiece.
X-Men
Logan
Wolverine.
Logan was okay. Logan was good.
Wolverine and
fine.
Deadpool, I should say.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that one.
Whatever. I have zero. Whatever to Wolverine. I did see Wolverine and Deadpool. I didn't. Whatever.
Also, here's
More X-Men, but we need a new direction. We gotta take
Canadian
it somewhere different.
phobic, honestly. I hate Canadians.
even though one's actually from Canada and the other one's characters from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that the characters are like their nationalities are Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And also Ryan.
I mean, Australia is kind
Canada.
of the Canada of England if you think about it, so it works out.
Okay,
I
moving
love
past
the
that
new
one.
Dead
Orbit.
silence after I said that.
Okay, so
I'm
here's
just checking to see if there's any sniper lasers pointed at my chest.
there might be one. So here's a rumor too. I've been hearing two comments pointing this out, and I think this is might have some validity to it. Hunter Schafer is rumored to be in the running to play Mystique.
Wait a minute, who's that?
Hunter Schafer. She was in what was she in? She was in
Looking at picture.
Yeah, she was in
From Euphoria.
Euphoria, there we go. Yeah, Euphoria. And
Is this person?
she is trans, yes.
I don't like her.
Yeah, I'm okay.
She said some stuff about non-binary, or
Oh, did she?
She liked a post a while back that was like kind of anti-NB.
Oh, okay. That's not
and
great.
never really gave a good reason for why that happened, unless something's changed for now. I mean, obviously more trans representation, but like I hate that all the people representing us right now just seem to not be great people. Shout out Amelia Perez's marketing campaign.
Yeah, that was horrible.
It's not great being trans right now. I don't know if you've heard this. Have you heard about this? Not
Disturbingly, I've heard a lot. Unfortunately, it's horrible. It's genuinely anxiety-inducing just seeing the news every
Anywho's.
day.
You know,
Why is
I
he
was like thinking. I
focused
mean,
on
like I
you?
remember like a few months ago. I was like, yeah, I'll come visit you, Aunt, and we'll hang out in New York / New Jersey. And I'm like, actually, that might never happen. And
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
sorry,
I
you're gonna have to come up here if you want to hang out.
I can't even blame you. Genuinely, I really can't.
Well, I'm
It's awful.
pretty sure that they're creeping up on putting trans people on the no-fly list. So
Yep.
I'm
That's
good,
a,
actually.
that's a
Oh, then you can
possibility.
Well, if I get the panel then for DashCon 2, you can just do it if I'm not allowed to leave the country.
That's actually like, I hate that because like, that's not a joke.
Yeah,
I know,
it really
I
isn't.
know. That's why it's anyway.
Like, at least we live in blue states where there are some protections
we
for.
are at least. I'm in
Like-
California, which is pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's still like on an institutional, systemic
Oh, it's horrendous.
level.
Like,
Scary.
it's more like there's some relief for certain states, but like that's not much of a consolation in the long run, especially where the federal government's involved. But like, it's anxiety inducing just looking at the news, and it's just and like like in your mind, yes, they're doing decisions that are going to hurt their long term like control over the country, but how much damage are they going to do in the meanwhile? Like you can see where it's going to go. They're going to turn on each other. They're going to undermine each other's ability to run each other. Like you see that in the making, but like how much damage are they going to do in the meanwhile is what's scary.
That's like some of the stuff that like drives me nuts, where it's like, oh, we're just gonna sit back and watch and eat popcorn while the world's building, or like, oh, we survived worse. And it's like, did you though?
Yeah,
Because like AIDS epidemic, a lot of us died.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Hell,
Um,
millions of people died under Trump's last term with the pandemic. Like millions.
you have like, it's a survivorship bias. Like, yes, you lived, but many people did not. But
yeah, and it's
anyway,
like
this is getting dark.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's
I will try to end. I will try to end this conversation on the same hopeful note that I always do. Please go and volunteer for local events at where you're at,
Yeah.
because that's what really does the good work. Voting is obviously voting, and that's fine. But if you really want to make change, you do need to go out into your world and just do nice
Yeah.
things for people.
yeah.
If you have a trans person, just say hi to them, call them out, ask them to
Make sure-
go to a bar and hang out.
Yeah,
You-
that
You can
and
just see
sell
each
your
other's
Tesla
face.
stock. Tank Tesla's stock. That will piss Elon Musk off a lot.
Like reach out to the trans people in your friend groups and in your community, but also like grassroots organizations and like
Yes,
small
exactly.
nonprofits. That's where you're
Mhm.
going to make the most change. The world is big and scary, but your community could really use your help right now. And if enough of us make that choice and take on that attitude, we will make a difference.
I think no, absolutely.
And it will
honestly,
be life and
I
death
would
for
go.
some people. Yeah.
I think I would go even further. I think the most important thing that you can do right now is to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Madeline May, where I make video essays, and then possibly support me on Patreon. It's probably the best thing you can do for trans people right now.
100%.
Yeah. Support your trans creators. Yeah. You've got 2 of them on as a guest right now, but
Mainly me.
There's a third
mainly
before,
me.
too.
Trans creators, but
I'll be
make sure
okay.
Yeah, me and Krim. After that, you can do what you want, but make sure.
And Chloe,
That's
too,
it.
because she was on here before and also was a trans
But
creator.
Chloe left, so that's
Yeah, it's fine,
whatever.
whatever.
Who cares?
Chloe's not a team player.
Chloe lost her chance. She had her chance.
Hearts to Chloe. Hearts to Chloe.
Now,
we're not gonna get through this today.
No, we're not going to finish it. But, Madeline, I do think that while I have everyone here, we should talk about the most important movie on this list. The most important series. Meet the
God.
Fockers.
Meet the Fockers. Wow.
Meet the Fockers. Best
those-
franchise
I
of all
have a feeling
time.
that first one
I-
probably isn't as good as I remember.
Meet the Parents,
It
yeah.
probably does not hold up.
I'm sure the jokes have aged terribly. I have not seen it in years. I don't even know why it's on this list. It's like, feels very out of place with everything else on here.
I mean, there are a lot of weird
I-
places on this list.
That's
I will
true.
say that. Yeah.
That's why I like this list a little better
Movies-
because there's some strange ones.
I don't even know what to call them. Like the frat humor movies, like Meet the Fockers, like
college comedies. would you
Yeah,
say?
college comedies like National Lampoon, American Pie.
Oh
It was
yeah.
so uncomfortable.
Oh,
The jokes haven't
yeah,
aged
they
well.
really
for
are
most
a
of them.
relic of their time, and I think we've moved past that, and that's okay.
I think the
It's okay to
best
move
of
past that.
I think the best of those, which is actually surprisingly not on this list, would be, and you may, and I think, and I'm not saying these are not problematic movies because they definitely are, but I would say probably the best of those like real gross out comedy films would be Austin Powers.
Yeah,
Because at least it
I
made
think
jokes
that's
that are,
fair.
because at least it made jokes that
May
you're
I?
still repeating. Yep.
May I make a slight like pushback against this? And
Go
this
for
one's
it.
pretty tame.
Mhm.
But it has a lot of the same feelings. Cheaper by the dozen.
Would you? I wouldn't say that was gross out though. I think that's more
That's a
family.
There was some pretty like when they put like hamburger down the guy's pants and like the dog.
Oh, ooh,
It
yeah.
was gross.
But-
Like there was like a lot of moments like that. It was kind of bridging the gap between the family movie and those kind of movies, I think.
But I kind of
That
associate
was
it with like the
during that
Nickelodeon
weird,
slime
like,
movies.
That was during the weird Steve Martin era where he was just making like a bad family movie every year.
like Pink,
Mhm.
like
And we
Pink
just
Panther,
accepted that.
like Pink
like
Panther.
Pink Panther,
Yeah.
or the one he did with Queen Latifah.
But then he was in like the
Um,
really good romantic comedy with Meryl Streep and Adam, the guy who shot someone in Rust.
Adam Baldwin.
Alan Baldwin, yeah.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec
is what you're
Baldwin,
trying to
Alec
say.
Baldwin. There we go. Sorry,
Uh,
where he gets high with Meryl Streep, and like Meryl
Right.
Streep gets high after like one puff of.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that one. I heard that was okay.
Yeah, that was all right. I like that one. That was cute. But I think Meet the Fockers. Why? I think is a fair point.
Listen, I think if you made, you'd have to go big. You'd have to go stupid. If you brought back Beat the Fockers, RuPaul Charles as the weird gay uncle.
Yes, yeah. We need more gay uncles in these movies.
I
Also,
have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings on the guy, but I think that would be
also it's funny
the
because
spectacle that
I
it
mean,
would
no,
be.
I would love to see Ben Stiller and the RuPaul uncle discussing the merits of fracking. I'd be very fascinated by that.
well, I mean, Ben Stiller has done some really good stuff, like Severance. You know, like that's his show.
I don't. I wish I had Apple TV, but I do not. But I want to watch that.
Like it's just a great. He's a really talented creative, but like he's just so like. In this era, I don't think he knew what to do with. I don't think he knew what to do with himself. Like he's really come into his own as a creative, but like I feel like at this time he was in so many like. And then there was that one movie. I'm not sure if you guys, if any of you all remember this one. It was the one. It's called Keep the Faith, I think, or Keeping the Faith, where he's a rabbi and his best friend, who's played by Edward Norton, is a priest.
I saw like half of it. I remember it was interesting. Yeah.
I liked it. Like I thought it was cute, but like it's also such a surreal concept of seeing like a romance story involving a priest, which is like in the Catholic Church where that's
A
not.
priest.
They talk about that in the movie. Like,
Yeah, it's a plot point. Yeah, but it's like surreal. Like it's a love triangle, but one's a priest in the Catholic Church and one's a rabbi. And rabbis can marry, and it's like. Yeah, but like we know one of you's not getting the girl, and it's not going to be the priest. You know what I mean? It's like we know where this is going already.
Aw.
Like we know one of you is not
The
going
way
to get.
that you were like selling it, I was thinking that like the rabbi and the priest were dating each other, and I was like, that's exciting.
They almost are. Like they go to like they have like the basketball game where they're like in the middle of the streets and they play with these kids and they go shower
Oh, yeah.
together. Like there's a lot of moments where they're like
The
very
complicated
they're bros.
complicated rituals.
Oh yeah, they talk
Ben-
about like
Ben Stiller likes his basketball. He did the same thing in Along Came Polly.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
about
except that was
it,
grosser in a long game
yeah.
Polly.
It was grosser. A not terrible movie. Along Came Polly. A totally Philip Seymour Hoffman's very funny in it.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is also like the unsung hero of this list, where he's in Mission Impossible. He's in, he's in what was the other one that he was in? The Hunger Games, which is apparently on this list. He was probably in another one of these at some point too. Like he's just a really good actor, I think. Yeah, we're not going to finish this list today. We have to have a part 2 because like Madeline, you have to head out in like 10 minutes.
I got like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have time for one more? Do you think?
We can do one or two. I don't. Rocky. Do we have a lot to say about Rocky?
I don't have anything to say about Rocky, but I do have something to say about the one after Rocky.
Yeah,
Ooh.
same. So with Rocky, I think Rocky is consistently really good. I think 5 is the
new ones are good, right?
Yeah, Creed's really good.
Yeah.
I think these are just consistently really good. It just keeps delivering, I think. I think the first Rocky's one of my favorite films ever, but I also realize I like how he loses in like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I like that. I like how he loses. I like it that he doesn't always win. And sometimes it's not about winning, but it's about getting up after being hit so often. I think that's really a good message, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. And I like how they've moved away from Stallone too. Like it's moved into Creed's story as opposed to Rocky's story. Like he's been able to like be pushed off the side a little bit, and they've actually handed the torch off, which I like. But yeah, with this, we're counting all Batman, not just the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, well, no, because that's like 2 very different conversations.
Yeah, I know. But let's focus on Dark Knight.
Because it's not I guess, franchise, yeah.
Yeah. But with the Dark Knight, I feel like I think we all have some complicated feelings.
Burn it with fire.
Burn it with fire.
Is this just like
Chris
Batman
Nolan.
in general?
With Christopher Nolan with the Dark Knight, I'm not with you on Burn It with Fire. I think Batman Begins is really solid, but
It ruined Batman.
I agree. I made a whole video about that, and people were pissed about it.
No, I do think the films don't hold up for obvious reasons. I remember, obviously, like everyone else, I loved The Dark Knight when it came out. I rewatched it again. I got a lot of bad politics.
And the way that it
Dark Knight Rises is
affected
terrible. Yeah.
the way that it affected Batman going forward sucked.
Agreed.
And I say this to Anthony every time we talk about The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the Batman,
Yes.
like the one with Robert Pattinson, is just its opposite and is critiquing it in every single way, down to like the camera work.
Oh,
just
I like
100%.
that movie. I like the Batman. Yeah. I
The
thought that was
Batman's
pretty good.
fantastic.
Like the messaging, the whole like it's not enough to be vengeance, the Baroque like framing and composition. I love it.
Everything in it is so great. The Batman is maybe also a contender for one of the best superhero movies ever made. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
If we keep going in that direction, I want to see more of that world. I want to see Batman redeem himself. I would love to see like a sidekick character, like, and actually have a conversation about what that means, because we don't really have sidekick characters in any of the big superhero movies. We haven't since the 90s in the Tim Burton movies.
I would say the closest we've gotten was Bucky in the MCU, but
that's not
that
really...
doesn't count because he's like more of a partner. He's more of a contemporary, not quite like a young Ward brought up. And I'd say this too: if we're going through the whole scheme of Batman, I honestly think that the 90s stuff is underrated. I think it's been so demeaned.
Yeah, no, I think you're
I think
you're right.
I think Batman Forever is a very underrated film. I think it's one of the better superhero films of the 90s.
I mean, I think Batman has always been at its best in animated form.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Right now, Harley Quinn's like my favorite show. So like, there's a lot going on.
I think if I got the Batman movie that I want, it would be like a Batman and Robin movie, but it would be like a very much a conversation about, sins of the father, like the whole like generational trauma, like hurt people hurting other people. But I would want it to tackle those themes but end on like a note of hope and healing and how like family needs each other. And I just don't think we've gotten that in a film form for any, because we just don't talk about sidekicks in superhero movies.
What was the sequel to The Long Halloween, the comic? I think that's kind of what you're describing. Like a comic that was a film that was more an adaptation of that.
I know. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
It's on my shelf behind me. I just don't want to go over and check because it will take too long.
We might get that then going forward with the Batman as a franchise. I know the Batman was kind of based on Long Halloween a little bit. So maybe we'll get more of that.
It'd be nice. I would like it.
And I know that people are like, let's do Jason Todd. Let's do Jason Todd. I think you
need Dick
really
first.
need to do Dick Grayson first.
Yeah, you need Dick first. You can't. And one thing
yeah. Mm-hmm.
One
Yo,
thing
chat, we need Dick first, right? We're all about that.
Oh God!
And like
Phrasing.
I need
Dick first.
Dark victory. There we
here's
go.
the thing. I need people. I need DC like chill out on the whole Rick Grayson thing. Get the fuck out of here.
That
Dick
sucks.
Grayson has the charisma to pull off the name Dick.
Yeah.
If there's no Dick, there's no me.
Exactly.
I gotta have some Dick. I gotta have Dick.
Yeah, but and like he can. It's fine because we love him despite the jokes. And that's the thing is that like, I think that like if you can't cast a Dick Grayson that can pull off the name Dick Grayson, not the right actor.
No,
Get
yeah,
him out of here.
100%.
He has to be able to pull off the name, and we have to be able to take him seriously, even when we make jokes about his butt and
Exactly.
about his name. Okay,
Which
it's very important.
Which will have to be made, because it's great. But no, I think
It's so
I
funny
think we need
because
more.
unfortunately my top pick for that Dick Grayson would have been Robert Pattinson, but he's already in this
Actually,
movie.
you know who I liked the one. What's his name? I liked the guy who played Dick in Titans.
He was good.
What's his name? He was good. He actually, Brenton Thwaites, who I actually don't think is that much younger than Pattinson, but he looks younger.
He has a young looking face. He looked like he was a baby in his in the suit whenever he show up. But I'm like, no, that works though.
I'm so excited for them to announce Timothée Chalamet as Robin, and it's going to be the worst thing ever.
Well,
No.
the thing is, what I like what James Gunn's doing with DC is he's having two versions of Batman that coexist. He's having the Robert Pattinson story continue, and he's also setting up a storyline involving a more mature Batman raising Damian Wayne, which I guess would also imply that Dick Grayson would also exist in that world. Like, I like that concept. I like that Batman is so versatile in these stories. I just don't like, as I've said multiple times, what the Dark Knight trilogy, how that impacted our adaptation process for Batman. We really did move away from the more fantastic stuff. Because, again, we were trying to move away from Batman and Robin from the 90s, but in the process, we lost a lot of what made Batman so unique. And I feel like with James Gunn, we're kind of getting some of that back now, which is exciting.
I also think that like sorry, you go ahead, Madeline.
I mean, mine is pretty simple. We need to just kind of pause superhero movies for a bit, so that we can, so we can miss them again. That would be nice, just to have a little bit of a break from any superhero movies. Period. We come back to them stronger than ever. That is my take on this.
Can I present an alternative to you that's in the same spirit, but is like they need to be low budget and the big studios aren't making them.
Yeah,
I need them to be
they want all the
passion
money. They're not
projects.
making
They need to be passion projects by people that like, yeah, my personality is I have autism and I like Batman. Like, I need those people to be making superhero movies.
Yeah.
Like that's because like
we need to bring back the mid-budget film. It's been dead for so long, but we need to bring it back.
Well, that's the thing I've been saying for a while too. I was just rewatching the other day, Conan the Barbarian, which is not a good movie.
Oh yeah.
But it has a lot of people not wearing a lot of clothing, and so my spouse and I love that aspect of it.
I have a soft spot for Conan.
I like Conan.
That's very
but like
movie.
Blade
but it was like
also
mid-budget.
from that era.
Blade is fantastic. I love Blade. The fact that we haven't made another Blade film, despite casting Mahershala Ali as Blade, is just kind of staggering to me.
I mean, I'm glad that he reappeared in, Deadpool and Wolverine, but like, I want more.
Agreed. 100%. Blade is so underrated, I feel like, as a character. Anyway, I know, Madeline, you have to head out soon, so let's just read some super chats and then probably wrap it up for right now, I think. And then
Sounds good.
reconvene at a later date. But I do want to read the super chats because... okay, so... Let's see what we got here. Adrian Parchman. Archer is just book-accurate James Bond. Very accurate, except Archer is a little too funny to be book-accurate James Bond. who is, by the way, based on Christopher Lee, James Bond in the books. Because apparently Ian Fleming was cousins with Christopher Lee. Would hear stories of Christopher Lee's experiences in World War II and go, I can write a book about that. And that was the inspiration behind James Bond.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Baichi Epiodera, thank you for the super chat. Trans authors too. Support trans authors, 100%. There are so many trans authors. In fact, I hope to host at least one trans author in the coming months because they are my editor and I want to support their book because it is good. I'm reading it right now. It is really, really fun. Paige Lego, thank you for super chat. I don't know. I'm not sure I can support the little devil guy on screen. Eyebrow raised. How do you feel about that, Krim?
Paige, you do support the little devil guy on screen pretty intensely. Paige is one of my angel supporters, so she's all talk, no action. Well, I mean, she is all action, and like her bark's first in her bite.
There we go.
She loves me.
Valid. All right, Stabster, thank you for super chat. Gonna head out now. Wish I could stay longer to hear your thoughts on Godzilla as a franchise, but this was still a really fun stream. Don't worry, you'll hear it when you come back, because we haven't finished, I haven't gotten to Godzilla yet. That's a lot of hot takes on Godzilla. Adrian Parchman, thank you for super chat. Hot take, Batman 66 is underrated and overhated. Yeah.
Who hates Batman 66? I'll kill them.
People really do.
In Minecraft.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of...
That movie is so fun.
It's amazing. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I could watch it. I'm going to watch it right after this, actually. I could edit I could either edit my Elon Musk video, which would make me have to look at Elon Musk's face until I fall asleep, or I could watch Batman 66. So the choice is easy. I'm going to go with Batman. Cadams, thank you for the super chat. Batman is good when it's a little goofy. Yeah, I agree. But Batman who's serious can be good too. It all depends on the execution. And Paige Lego...
Batman who
Sorry. No, go for it.
Batman who takes himself very seriously when the rest of the world is not serious
is peak.
Yeah.
So Lego Batman.
Yes. I don't like Lego Batman. Sorry.
That's fair too.
I like that movie.
I like Lego Batman.
I like Lego Batman.
And finally, Paige Lego again. Robert Pattinson also plays Robin while on his knees.
I know this is a typo, but if Robert Patterson, the book author, played Robin, that would be extremely funny.
You mean James Patterson, the book author?
Yes.
I would love that.
That's what I said.
You said Robert.
I said Robert James Patterson.
I love it. I love it.
7.
I love it.
Don't correct me. That's transphobic.
You know what's funny is James Patterson doesn't really write any of his books, and it's very funny to me.
He must have wrote them in the. I haven't read a single one. I don't read airplane books.
At the beginning.
Honestly.
Well, did you ever read Maximum Ride?
No, well, I mean, to be fair, books, I think they're a little childish, and they take away from me playing video games, and
I see where it's going.
and using the restroom. It's hard to read a book in the restroom because I often fall in the toilet. As part of my routine, that gets the book wet. So it's a lot of hurdles to reading. While I could just play a game.
Have you considered audiobooks where you could just plug it into your earphones and just listen to it without using your hands at all?
I love audiobooks.
Same.
I would say if the audiobooks were also a video game that I could look at and play like Mario, that would be cool.
Have you ever heard of Higurashi? I'm sorry.
These are all jokes. I know people have a hard time. I do read. Sometimes I need to read more, if anything. So suggest me books. I will not read them, but I'll appreciate the care that you give me.
Have you ever heard of this digital book from Japan called School Days?
Ooh, you know what? I have, and boy, does that probably my favorite romance. Honestly,
truly a love story for the ages.
Truly a beautiful moment. It's up there. Yeah. I'm getting into the Madoka Magica. I'm not very far into it, but I think it's gonna be I think it's all gonna work out for him.
I think so.
Do you ever on a completely different, not book related thing, but now that magical girls have been brought into the conversation, are you a precur girly?
I need to get in. I need to get into it because I love Sailor Moon. I love manga. Manga was the thing I
Smile
tried as a kid.
Precure, I think it was, it made me cry, bawl like a baby. Also, I gotta say, I appreciate Precure, like, putting in the extra effort to not. I know, like bar underground, but I like that the extra effort they go to not have like character designs that are sexualized. Like, they do have the cute frilly short skirts, but they're wearing like leggings underneath to give them a bit of modesty. Like, it's clearly like a magical girl show made for girls.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a girl, but like I appreciate that the audience
I get what
is
you
being
mean.
Considered.
All right, I got
Yeah,
one for you. I got one for you. Hang on. Let me see if I can find the name of this.
Oh my.
Do you know who
Oh my
Takashi
God.
Miike is?
Takashi Mike, yeah.
Takashi.
Takashi
I'll go with it.
Takashi
So-
Miike, yeah.
so,
what
you
about
ever see-
Takashi Miike?
You ever see the Magical Girl live action show that he made? That he's like worked on like religiously for like the last several years.
I thought we were still doing a bit. I have not seen.
No, this
that,
is a real
actually.
thing. I'm gonna show you an
okay.
image. This is the same guy who made Audition and Ichi the Killer. Same.
Ooh, okay.
This is the same, and this is like not even like a work. You're probably thinking, oh, it's like an irony, like ironic kind of thing. No, he genuinely is passionate about making this like a family friendly, long running TV show for like girls.
Well, I know he also did the Phoenix Wright movie, right?
He did, and the JoJo movie too.
Right. Yeah, I definitely want to check out Precure. I only know the character designs, and they're all beautiful, and I want to look like each and every one of them. They're all. So Precure is on my list. I love magical girls. I love Sailor Moon. Watch all this stuff. Yeah, super into it.
Valid, love it.
Yes.
I gotta do more magical stuff because I really want to. But no, yeah. So I know you got someplace to be, so we'll wrap it up.
I do gotta go. But hopefully we can come back.
Oh
maybe,
yeah, not hopefully. We're
point.
going to.
Plug?
We're going to.
Plug?
I'm keeping this entire tier list on my browser somewhere until we come back.
Plug?
So plug, yes, plug away. Let me get you a chance to directly plug yourselves on the screen right now. Krim, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. I was poking Madeline to plug, but
I think I've plugged myself 5,000 times today, but I love doing it. But no, you can go first.
my YouTube channel, Crimson Ender. I make videos. I'm working on video essays right now. Still a baby channel, but like starting to turn out video essays. I'm hoping to do 1 or 2 a month at least. Just did one introducing my new series on Wicked, which I'll be doing all year, talking about all of the adaptations. Wicked is my favorite book and has been since I was like 14, which was, oh boy, that was like 20 years ago. And related to that, I'm going to be doing a reaction to Dominic Noble's video on Wicked, and I think I might actually kill him. So
Or Dominic.
if I think Dom does what or is aware of your channel, at least, Anthony.
I mean, I know people who know him. I will say that.
So Dom, if you ever see this somehow, I'll make it quick.
He seems like he's a good sport with criticism, so I'm not gonna like. I won't.
I say for all intents and purposes, my thirst for blood is a bit.
Wait,
I love that for you, honestly. That's beautiful.
For legal purposes, of course.
Yes.
wait, Madeline, what's your channel's name again? Friendly Cat, what?
It's Madeline May. It's my name. My
Oh.
channel's my name, Madeline May.
Okay.
Friendly cat wife is my social media account on most things.
Oh,
But
okay.
Madeline May, Maye. Put an E.
There you go.
Great, thank
Oh
you.
yeah,
So
Friendly Cat
you're
Wife
doing-
is your handle. It's right here. That's why I was saying it. There you go. Friendly Cat Wife.
No, it's Maye. There's an E at the end of my name. Oh my god.
It's spelled
Go
correct.
to the start. Yeah, the M-A-Y. There. That's it.
Yeah, it's spelled correct.
I think he.
That's me.
I think
That's
he's-
me.
I
Okay.
think he's tormenting you.
I hate you all so much. Hi everyone.
Slice.
Friendly Cat Wife is the handle on there. Yes, I forgot about that.
That's why I gotta search
Hi,
for that
I'm-
term to find on YouTube.
I'm Madeline May. I make video essays. I'm kind of new. I think I'm a little over a year into doing this. I am working on more things. I am not a Vivzy Pop hate channel, despite what people say. I don't care that much about it. But I just want everyone here to at least check. You know, even if you don't agree with my takes, you know, I'm fair. I try to prove my points. I tear down Fantastic Beasts. We can all agree.
I love that.
Yeah.
We all I tear down.
I see you trying to tear down Mauler here. That's always entertaining. With an essay about 1/5 the length of his average video.
I have a lot of correct takes, and a lot of people can't appreciate that yet. But your kids will love it. To quote Back to the Future, I'll be vindicated. And look out for my my new Matrix is a bad trans allegory, and also just some weird things about the Matrix that I noticed doing research. That'll be out probably soon. I mean, the script's getting there, so yeah.
I'm so looking forward to it. I
Same.
think
It's gonna be
I
a big one. I'm
actually
excited for it.
stumbled across one of your videos in the wild before we started talking, and
Oh
I
my
ended
God,
up
that makes
liking
me feel
it.
so
So
good.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
So we got one last super chat. Baichi Epiodera, thank you, super chat. More magical girl stuff. Ant, do I have a show for you? Lol. Is it Miraculous Ladybug? I'm down for watching Miraculous Ladybug. I actually have not seen enough of it to really form a strong opinion of it. But
They
yeah,
really
no.
they really have a hard time with ropes in that show.
Mm.
Can't figure them out.
Well, that's the same thing with Wonder Woman too. By the way, people in chatters are begging you, Krim, not to attack Dominic Noble, too intensely. Spare Dominic, please, Krim. Not even in Minecraft.
right to the throat. Right to the throat.
Mhm.
Chomp.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
It'll be over quick. Don't worry.
and Cam Pink Blue Griffin, thank you. Welcome as a reader. I am going to post a Discord link on the Discord only section before I fall asleep. That's going to be where you can access our exclusive Discord for fans and and for members and Patreon members and what have you. And it'll be great. It'll be a fun time. I am going to wrap things up right now, but tune back for part 2. I'm going to drag these two back, hopefully. Maybe Chloe will show up. Maybe someone else from the server there's many names in the server, some of which know Dominic, and we're very amused by your reaction.
I didn't want to spoil it, but it is going to be Dominic. And it is going to be about Wicked next time. So
There you go. All right, so thank you everyone so much for watching. Have a great rest of the night. If you're in the tri-state area, please be ready to shovel tomorrow because it's going to be nothing but snow. I will see you all very soon. And on Friday, we have the Cyberpunk Elon Musk video, which I'm so happy to be editing. I'm so glad I get to look at hours and hours of footage of Elon Musk's face and then just use 5 minutes of it in the whole video. Great choices made by me today. So I'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
bye. Okay, I really do have to go. So
That's fine. It's fine.
I'm gone. But thank you.
I
That was
have
really fun.
not hit
Bye,
the
everyone.
end.
Bye.
Okay, there we go. Bye.